Wrestling on the Rocks.
Where every show is like it's our first show.
Technically second. We're in smooth now. We're in smooth.
Second show of the week so far today.
You get bonus content.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Bonus outtakes.
It's like you guys donated to our Patreon.
Yeah, go ahead. Hit us a Prime subscribe. Buy us a drink. Free for you.
Mm-hmm.
I get a drink out of it.
Actually, buy us a roll of toilet paper, please.
Don't tell me how to spend my money. I will wipe my ass with liquor labels.
I've been using duct tape. It's not gone well on my hairy man. Also, if anyone would like to message me and help me in installing a bidet, I tried to do it, and I flooded my house.
Bidet, sir.
Yes. So, appreciate it.
Looking for some help. How you doing? How you holding up?
Doing good. Yeah.
I see you went the Howie Mandel route.
Oh yeah. So I had been going with the goatee and trying to grow my beard, and it wasn't going in well. Yeah. So I had a mustache for 48 hours. Hated the shit out of it. It was not great.
Why did it have shit in it?
Trying to darken it up because my hair is very blonde there.
I can see that. I can see that. My brother also went the Howie Mandel route. Yeah. I'm just waiting for you guys both to go the Whoopi Goldberg route.
I've seen pictures of your brother.
Or Powder.
He's similarly to me. Doesn't have a strong jaw.
He does.
Okay, so it works out.
Yeah, he's got like a little John Travolta jaw. He's got like a strong chin, like a cleft.
See, the reason I hate doing this and why I have the beard is I hate this part, especially when it's stubbly, because you start seeing like the chins, all the chins.
It's just more. It's like more head with you.
Yeah. Because
you've just got like all these lumps of heads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do. What is cool when you shave it though is it makes a cool tapping sound. I love doing this. Like literally the best part. Like.
So that's how you've been spending your days, I assume.
Yeah, shaving my head, tapping it.
Because you definitely haven't been working on the custom pop you promised me 6 months ago.
Aye.
Dick. Bitch.
When I do it, it's just gonna be like every cut is just gonna be like, cool. Flip off the camera.
Yeah, and you just throw it across the room. And he comes back, all the paint's out, it's there in front of him, it's all like, you again! Throws it across the room.
Just the background that says, fuck you, Marsh.
Yeah.
Random point, yeah.
Yeah, we've been staying in. I've been still going to work. They've been making me, but they've been keeping it pretty locked down at work, so we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
The governor out here is putting in together a lot of executive orders to make me think that it may be just a matter of time before we go straight FaceTime edition.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works. And I know last time we did it, there was a problem with it because effectively FaceTime, overlaps us the way that it wants to. So we'll have to look at what we have on them.
Well, if we only have two, it can't overlap us too bad. Whereas it had three, it was just like one not face.
I'm going to see if maybe I can do it from here and then have you in on like a superimposed, like we do with the images. See if I can superimpose a FaceTime clump. You know what I mean?
Do it. Have the projector behind you.
Or should I just do like a picture outline of you and then just Discord you in so the audio's crisp?
Picture outline?
Just like put a inlay of you.
Where like you have the ability to animate me?
We can use a few pictures. Let's see what we can do. This might be the best route. I think it's the one that makes me the most
I'm kind of
happy.
scared because I'm sure one of them's going to be at one point shirtless with me grabbing my nipples or something.
Yeah, probably some sort of like Chota Boy like helmet. You know?
Me pissing on a Ford look.
Yeah. The old Calvin. Awesome, man. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. That's
course.
social distancing cheers.
Yep, that's fair.
We've been practicing social distancing cheers for a long time.
We're 6 feet apart. I'm just really fat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so. But as long as wrestling goes on, we're going to try. Yeah. We're going to keep going on as much as we can. And so far as I can tell, no one's been more correct than Matt Cross in all of this. Wrestling is forever.
Yes.
Matt Cross is a champion of the future.
The irony being that the promotion he's on is not putting on any content.
Yeah. Also, the one company most prepared to do so.
Right?
Oh, well. Oh, well.
We do love you, NWA, and we respect your responsibility in this time.
Yeah.
You're the one that wants to get on their show.
No, yeah, I think I don't think that they're making a bad call or they've made any wrong decisions in any of this. I just was kind of surprised that they were doing no in-studio stuff.
Yeah.
And I bet you it has to do with the idea of actual cost of renting the studio. It's not like they own the studio. It's not like WWE who owns the Performance Center.
Yeah.
Or AEW where they own the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium.
And if they have to pause everything, they might as well restart it as they get closer and have the ability to fund it back in. Because if they have to record and they can't do it with people there, then they can't effectively fund it, and it kind of creates this shorter runway to collapse.
Yeah.
Which
I hope a bunch of people look different. So they got to cut in things where it's all like, Zicky Dice is way ripped now, but then it shows him with a gut again. You got like Ricky Starks, who's like maybe got like twice the size now, and then it shows him looking small again.
I want Zicky Dice to have 4 abs and still the little flab.
Yeah,
little flap.
Little.
I want WPC to shave his beard and look like WPC again. He looks kind of like a wizard.
Who's WPC?
William Patrick Corgan. Billy Corgan. I get weird when they call him William Patrick.
He doesn't have a beard right now.
He has some facial hair thing.
Not when I saw him. Yeah, now he can.
Yeah.
He should just come out looking like a mountain man. He should come out looking like Edge next time we see him.
Yeah. Allergies.
I really liked when Edge came out from Rumble and they just had the fog and he came out from it looking like he wandered in from the wilderness because he's like,
yeah, he's way slimmed down and his wild ass eyes when he comes
yeah.
oh fuck.
Oh yeah, he looked lost. It was amazing. I thought it was so good. Like he was just like, oh god, like he was like,
what am I?
Yeah, like a scene from like Back to the Future or something.
Yeah,
where a car like disappears and then it comes back and the guy comes out like, oh fuck. Like, he just looked so far gone. It was pretty nuts. It was awesome.
They had him backstage for a month with a bag over his head. Just said, "Go the fuck out!" What?
Yeah. Let's see. You said you didn't end up watching NXT, correct?
Nope.
So I'll go over NXT because it's not like a lot happened necessarily, but a lot was shown, and we'll go over that, and then we can get into AEW and beyond. NXT. So I was saying I'm a Not Sam show. I paid for his content, for extra content in the chat room. And in there, maybe 2 weeks ago, someone was talking about they're rewatching a bunch of WrestleManias. Bunch of super wrestling nerds in there. That's why I like it. Go in there and just throw out stuff and you get a bunch of stuff right back. They're watching some of these old WrestleManias and they were saying something about the video packages. And I said, I love WWE video packages so much. I could watch just video packages for probably a week. And then NXT comes on and it's just video packages. And I was all like, oh, they're testing me. But it turns out I was right. I loved it. Loved it so much. I was all like, they got to get rid of all this live stuff and just recap all the old stuff. So it was a really cool recap of Johnny and Ciampa. And like I had said previously on the show, when NXT was even when they were on the line of do you bring Ciampa and Gargano up and going to USA and recapping or rehashing the Ciampa Gargano thing, my big complaint was, well, they did years of content that we'll never see and no one will get caught up on. And here they were provided with this amazing opportunity where they turned the majority of this 2-hour program into the Ciampa Gargano rehash story. And it was presented like a WWE documentary. It was presented with like a lot of reality to it, but they were staying in character for large chunks of it. It was just so well done. I mean, I don't think anyone's ever said WWE's production is poor. And so I was really excited. I was really excited for me because there was chunks of it I was unfamiliar with. There were parts of the rivalry that I checked out of because I was so tired of seeing Gargano lose everything all the time. And the producer had never seen anything prior really to USA. She had no idea. So she got to sit down and watch all of that and feels a lot more caught up on the whole story.
Heck yeah.
What do you think of the recap video?
I liked it. Sorry, I didn't put my mic in. Okay.
You're not mic'd?
I wanted it. I really don't.
I just threw to you and you're not even mic'd.
I'll just speak louder.
Are you trying to prevent scurvy?
Have my more vitamin C.
It's not scurvy. I've told her this every day. I'm telling her it's not scurvy. She's convinced. She's like, if the Pirates can get COVID, so can I.
They affected Tampa Bay.
I like the video package a lot. I like anything that gives me backstory because I didn't grow up.
Baby like backstory and she cannot lie.
I didn't grow up with TV, so I need to fill in a lot of gaps. So
we've been watching like the ruthless aggression documentaries. We've been watching. I was watching Stone Cold, Broken Skull. We've been going through with. We haven't put on FCW. We've been talking about that. We've been going through and watching a bunch of the old documentaries. So it's like, oh, now's the time to get filled in.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for backstory. Let's back that story up.
Oh shit! I think what would be cool because. So when we talked about last week, I was kind of hoping for it, but I kind of got your point. I was like, well, you're right. Maybe we should do these recasts, but if they're doing that like that and you liked it, I think it'd be cool to keep doing that. Now that WWE is putting on prior WrestleManias on ESPN, and you know, in my view, they're doing this because a lot of people are kind of low on content. I think a cool opportunity on ESPN or on USA would be, hey, let's put on maybe the Ruthless Aggression documentary series or offer some of their documentaries that they've had on ESPN or the other shows too. That'd be awesome. I think it's a cool, like, to get people in, to get them interested, because there are a lot of wrestling fans, and I think right now,
at the very least, if they're not doing that, the ESPN playbacks of WrestleMania should be showing commercials for that on the network, because the network's free right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. WWE announced this week that they're going to give the network out for free for like 3 months or something like that.
That's amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, but yeah, like I think my hope is out of this.
Or at least large chunks of it. Not all of it's free, but a lot of it is. Like every WrestleMania, every SummerSlam, like they're going through different pay-per-view chunks and some of the original content and making it free right now. So if you've ever gone in there, if you don't have your password put in there, it has the padlock. A bunch of that stuff that had padlocks is coming off.
I think it's cool in that what's happening right now is like, you know, I don't want to say this is like a positive for what's happening all over the world, because there's a lot of things that are really scary with this, but I think maybe out of this, we have, in a sense, this neat golden age of wrestling, and it's getting seen by other people, and that's good. I think people need content. I think it's a good time for people to explore something new. I think being inside, it'll be awesome, and I'm actually really happy. So
this could be the biggest single bring back the casual fan that's ever happened, even more so than AEW. AEW has failed at bringing back the casual fan like we all thought they would. But I think all this free content, all this conversation, all this, what do you mean wrestling's still going and all my sports are not? I think this could be the biggest thing. I even saw someone tweet at Conrad Thompson today, which is weird because it's like, how the fuck do you know who Conrad Thompson is? Because his tweet was, "Hey Conrad, I'm one of the lost casual fans from WWE and have not watched from 2005. What should I watch? What should I start catching up on now that the network is free? Or I just bought the network or some shit like that, right?" Eric Bischoff responded with Nitro, which I thought was hysterical. Because that means he watched all the way up until Nitro was already gone. Like, Nitro disappeared in 2002, and he's like, "Go back and watch Nitro.
Fuck all the other stuff. Yeah. Watch this again."
Remember all the things you remember? Go back and do that again. So
that means he watched all the way through WCW going into WWE, realizing how much that petered the fuck out, and the end of Goldberg. So he watched everyone he wanted to go and die. Which is a TNA.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Impact.
GCW, it's got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Actually, they have an app, GCW, I think.
They've been putting on a lot of their stuff free on too. Also, so NJPW, if you're looking for wrestling content, another cool thing in addition to WWE putting the network out for free, NJPW put out Wrestle Kingdom, I believe, 14 in its entirety for free on YouTube.
That's cool.
That's a 7-hour event. And it's a good ass event.
Is it 7? I expected more. How long was that one Wrestle Kingdom you had me watch?
That was 5.
Are you? No, there's no way.
14 was this year's, and it was 2 days.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But what's cool and what I'm excited for, I love NJPW. What made me not want to watch NJPW anymore has been their app's functionality in English and their playback. YouTube is a much more stable platform, and I'm excited for the ability to be able to look and go through to different matches, because that would happen to me when I watch it on NJPW World. Is I'd be like, oh, I didn't see this, so I'd skip and it would crash.
And that makes sense too with YouTube. NJPW going to the YouTube platform, I think, is super smart, because when you think about the most likely to watch NJPW are probably the All Elite fans, because they're the ones who hear the most about it. Even new AEW fans would probably be more likely to watch NJPW than something else. And YouTube is where they already live. That's where most of AEW stuff is.
And if you've never watched it, if you're a big WWE fan, you hate AEW, or you're not a fan, watch it NJPW. Because beyond, if you don't like the Young Bucks or you think they're silly, I know you're critical of them or certain things. There's a lot of different people. There's not just the Young Bucks. Like, if you don't
Matter of fact, NJPW was not good to the Young Bucks.
Nope.
They did not like them. They didn't book them well. They didn't book them high. They were relatively throwaway characters in NJPW, which is why they're so bitter with them. Kenny was their top star.
Yeah, and also, but if you don't like that, I'm trying to think of people in this one that are fantastic. Minoru Suzuki comes out. If you don't like, the opposite of the Young Bucks is Minoru Suzuki, and he's my favorite wrestler of all time. He is a bitter, angry old man who goes and beats young people. Like he'll come out with a chair and to fuck up someone after a match.
Is he the guy who looks like he's in socks and underwear?
Yes.
Yeah, I like him.
And you have all the young boys, like their NXT people trying to stop him. He's just throwing them around, fucking them. And he's like 5'6". Yeah. So it's like, what is this tiny piece of shit? And he's a monster. He's awesome. All of Suzuki Gun's great. If you like Lance Archer and are curious about it, Lance Archer in NJPW is fantastic, especially with Davey Boy Smith.
Is that who he was in that one?
Lance Archer with Davey Boy Smith, they were the Killer Elite Squad. They were amazing, and it was a funny ass, totally different character. He'd come up with throw beers at people.
That's not the one I saw, was it? That's not the Wrestle Kingdom you had me watch, right?
They weren't on the most recent one.
I didn't watch the most recent one. I watched like 2 of them ago.
Yeah, they were in the. If you watched, did you watch the one where it was like the Gauntlet tag team match?
I think I did, and I remember
they were.
I remember Davey Boy coming out in jeans.
Yeah. Davey Boy always wore jeans, and the guy that came out with him with a cowboy bat smashing beers, that's Lance Archer.
Wow.
Yeah. Bigger, scarier guy. That's a fantastic thing, too. Also, the Gorillas of Destiny. And Bullet Club, you've probably heard of Bullet Club through the Young Bucks and the Elite. The Bullet Club is so much larger than them.
Yeah.
And right now, it's going back to some of its core members, and they're awesome. The Gorillas of Destiny and Tama Tonga and all of the Tongans are fucking scary and amazing.
But don't get it mistaken. The only club that matters is actually the OC.
Which are the original founding members of Bullet Club.
Yep. But yeah, I think now's a really cool time for everyone to catch up on stuff and watch things. And like, I have to be careful not to drown the producer in old wrestling content. 'Cause I'm all like, there's so much on here I haven't seen. I have to watch all of it right now. And then she just falls asleep partway through, and then wakes up and goes, well, now I want to watch it. I was like, well, I just finished watching it.
That's a way smarter idea than what I've been doing with my wife. I've been trying to get her into like Modern Warfare.
Oh,
and I tried.
I thought about to get super disgusting. I was like,
there too, but I was like, hey, play the story of this, and she's like, okay.
Okay. I thought you were gonna get the urn.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We're just.
Oh no, we already got like 4 of those.
Come on.
We have a bunch of this. Oh, we have like
I have stickers.
No. I have like the 3-foot-long horse dildo. I have a lot of other stuff. Yeah.
All right.
The horse whip.
Yeah. It is like the base of it is bigger around this Pellegrino.
Nice.
Yeah. I can hold a Pellegrino.
So yeah, talk about Modern Warfare. You were saying?
Yeah, I was trying to get her into like video games. I was like, yeah, play this one. I liked it as a kid, and let her play the story. And they're kind of graphic and terrible. And I was like, well, play this mission. It's not that bad. And she kept going. She's like, this is fun, and kept going. And I walk into her looking at the screen with tears in her eyes. I'm like, what? Oh, as she's essentially playing a child killing people. I'm like, oh, sorry. She's like, I've seen so many things. I'm like, maybe you should play online now, champ. I'm gonna go away now. And then she goes online. And I'm like, and that is also maybe the worst community for video games because it's all just people calling her, saying the worst things ever.
Wait, so she was playing as a child or playing a child?
You play as a child killing people at one point in the mission. It's cool, but terrible. It's not
hard to stomach at times. The story
there's a lot of like, there's moments where you're like, oh, put them out of their misery. They're literally burning, and you just see bodies like on fire, and it's really good graphics.
And they're crying and shit.
And you're just like, fuck. And like, I look over and she's just like, ah. Oh, maybe you should play Overwatch.
That's why the producer plays the Telltale series. Because it's all basically puzzles and do these things in this order and nothing else is possible. And it's like Back to the Future. So it's like, this is so good. It's the dog. You know, like.
I understand. I forget at times that my wife's the kind of person we try to watch Breaking Bad and we got 2 episodes in and she's, I can't watch this shit.
Really?
Where they have the guy like tied up in the basement and he's like choking. I'm like,
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. No, producers got a lot of hate in their heart. so that's good.
Whatever.
We're able to live through some of that stuff.
Yeah, he played some country songs that were supposedly very sad.
Tim McGraw, dude, the girl, don't take the girl.
Oh, fuck you.
That's the saddest song in the world.
Yeah,
man.
no, I hate that.
Oh, dude, you can't listen to. Sarah Logan tweeted out. She goes, "Sometimes I test my emotional strength by playing "Don't Take the Girl" and see how long I can last till I cry."
Yeah.
So like that was her tweet. Like I test my emotional strength to this song, and so I was like, "Oh, that's funny. That's a good tweet and stuff." And she's like, "What is that song?" And I was like, "It's a pretty good song." And so I was like, just from a songwriting standpoint, you should listen to it and listen to the lyrics. She listens to the whole thing and she's all like, "Okay, so." I was like, "What?" She's like, I don't know.
That's a song I can't listen to at certain times. Like if it comes on, it's like switch. Like
yeah, as soon as you hear the dee 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 dee, it's like next.
If I walk into the repair room, like, and it was on, I was like, walk in, take an turn that off.
Yeah. Like, Siri, stop.
Apparently it had no heart. No.
Yeah. And she's like, what? So like a child dies or something? I'm supposed to care about that or something? And she goes, I don't even give a shit about fishing. Why is that part of it?
Oh my god. I don't think country's my thing.
It was. This song's big. The lyrics are bigger than country.
Yeah.
This was just to do with an acoustic. You love music like that. One dude with a guitar.
Oh, what don't you? If you like if you like acoustic, then what do you like? Because that's Starbucks music.
Folk is what it's got to be.
Okay.
Folk-ish,
Right?
but-
Like Ryan Hood. There's a plug for you. Guys, now's the time to catch up on all your Ryan Hood music.
That's a good one.
They're good.
Alright, so...
Did he do?
Hey Siri, play Ryan Hood. Let's see if it works.
Sure. Here's a station of Ryan Hood.
Oh shit.
This is country.
It's folk. She doesn't know that folk and country are the same thing. It's just without twang.
No, there's.
It's...
I don't know. It's one of these.
I don't like too much twang.
I got you.
It's
So
more of a
like-
racism thing.
I don't like.
Siri, stop.
I don't like white people.
It's
Hey Siri,
good, though.
stop.
If the vocals have like that twang...
Gang,
If
like
they're
the
from the
nose.
south, she's got pure
I
hate in
do
her heart for
not-
them.
No,
It took her a
no.
long time to not just want to see AJ Styles get murdered.
I did
Just
not.
from his voice alone.
Alright, stop.
That whole southern area, she's like, burn it, let it go.
Okay, I don't know why this is a thing.
Ooh, Kagoro's back! What up? So the first 22 minutes of your guys' stream wasn't visible
Really?
to most of us on Twitch.
We're doing a radio show now. I hope you
Was
understand
it-
that.
It's on here.
I know, I saw the whole thing on my Twitch.
Yeah.
And you saw it on your stream?
I saw both.
Yeah.
Sometimes Twitch...
Twitch is having issues in general.
Aw.
That's a bummer. I mean, it's all there. Could you hear us at least? Could you hear us? So
Well, this is so Twitch and Netflix are some of they have the highest for streaming
Right
the highest
now.
rates. Yeah.
right now, randomly showing the offline screen, so nothing. They're getting nothing at all. I'm able to stream us successfully. I wonder if it's more to do with the servers you're having to feed through right now, especially being international.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys.
I mean, we're happy to answer any questions you have if you can still hear us. And we're gonna post this on YouTube as soon as it's off. So if you wanted to effectively hit us with whatever questions or tweet at us, we can answer them that way too. And
We might expand to other platforms too. I've always said we should post these to Pornhub.
Stop.
it's just because his head looks like a scrotum.
If you take a picture, if you look at me from the back, I look uncircumcised. You took a picture of me.
It was really
It was
funny.
weird as fuck.
It really bothered him. It was hysterical.
I was like, oh no,
He
never.
was sitting at work and I took a picture and snapped it back at him.
Because I was like
should
this
censor
with my
this?
shoulders leaning, and I was just like,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it was
know.
gross, dude. That's the shape of his own head.
I agree with him.
Let's see. Wait, handicap.
God damn it!
Oh, misspelled even, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uses my chap to donate to myself. Oh, cool.
Dude, you got to, man. Eventually, I'll get a second paycheck from Twitch. They only pay you out when you hit a total of 100 or more. So I've gotten one check from Twitch in all this time because at one point we got up to that.
When I was in college, I wrote for the paper for the university, and I kept forgetting because they didn't do direct deposit to get checks, and I got like a message like when I graduated, like, "Hey, you are back paid." I was like, "Oh shit, how much?" Because I didn't know how much I was getting paid. I got 30 checks because they paid per article.
Oh, nice.
For a grand total of like $45. I was like,
hell yeah, dude.
I was taking him to Chase. I was just like, 45 cents.
It is still censoring club. I wouldn't say most words. I think that's misleading. But anything that could even be semi-construed as semi-potentially offensive or even just emotionally hurtful.
I feel like
I bet you if you called him a dagweed, it was censored.
I feel like what happens here is it censors me in the capacity of like what my racist uncle thinks millennials are offended by.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So
I guess I can't say that.
Oh yeah, it's like Twitch is going like, oh, Eric can't take that.
Yes, the answer to all of these questions so far has been yes. Everything you think has been censored has been.
Yeah.
I'm watching him. He has to click on it and say, "I approve to see this." He literally, his name is Crybaby Clump because he was called a crybaby and it censored it. So I think anything even remotely hurtful. Oh, try Snowflake. If you guys want to try Snowflake, let's see if that one catches him. Let's see what side of the.
Try cuck.
Oh, that'd be good.
Nope. Snowflake's good.
Snowflake's good?
Yeah.
What if you put "you are a snowflake"? I wonder about that. We're not sure how he suddenly ended up with a child's version of Twitch, but he did.
A liberal version of Twitch.
A liberal child's version of Twitch. That's true. There's a lot of right-wing children who've got some gusto, we'll say.
Oh my god.
Oh!
It censored the whole thing.
The whole thing! "You're a snowflake" was censored from beginning to end. It looked like one string of
I
censorship.
thought you typed in like the equivalent of like Tyrannosaurus like with a fuck in the middle of it.
Yeah. No, that whole thing.
No, Donald Trump's cool. That you have to say like you have to type something offensive to me.
Yeah, "You're a snowflake" was in its entirety censored. That was incredible.
Call me a cuck. Let's see.
Who hasn't?
I'm at.
Yeah.
I had somebody ask me like, so I walked into something at a place, and like somebody goes like, they asked them like, "Hey, what does cuck mean?" And then they said, "Eric knows," and I was like, "Fuck you."
Ooh,
and I had to explain.
Funny. That's funny.
You are a Donald Trump.
It didn't work, but that's actually probably my favorite insult right now.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
You're a Donald Trump.
All right, let's real quick get back to wrap up NXT. So yeah, I thought, like you said, there's nothing positive about the scenario we're in the world right now, but there is ways to find positive things and happenings coming out of it. I thought the idea of NXT being allowed or being forced to stop and slow down and think about what they're doing step by step. It's allowing all these companies, I think, to reevaluate, to change, to adapt, and to say what's actually the best for the product right now, since we can't do same old, right? And I thought this breakdown of Gargano Ciampa was it for NXT. The best work that they have ever done in NXT as a company, NXT, I think is a storyline between Ciampa and Gargano from beginning to end. And I thought, what a shame they're getting to USA now and no one's ever going to know all that. So then being able to highlight that and show it, also like, oof, there's a huge positive there.
Another positive to me of WWE, so of all things, and in terms of them releasing content, did you see, I don't know if I saw the trailers today, the Big Show is going to be on Netflix the day after WrestleMania.
That was announced.
And I'm really cool.
We're going to follow back on that one as soon as you finish your thought. Okay, I guess you have no thoughts.
No, I just saw the comment. That's something you might like.
Just go tweet Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds will sponsor us, and he makes alcohol? Can you look into this, producer, while we...
Sure.
Can you send us used underwear, too? Because
Stop. Ew.
Yeah, that's a
Come
good
on.
point. I didn't even put it out. What we are trying to... Let's see, what should we work on?
You like
we did
gin?
Bullet last time, right? I'm doing bourbon right now anyways. Let's do Johnny. Let's go back to Johnny.
Red Label or one of the fancy ones?
Just do Red Label so it can be on the table.
Yeah.
All right, so right now, Johnny Walker, we're asking for a cease and desist or a sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
I got no reasons why you should, but I just want it. Let's see. He owns Aviation Gin.
Yeah, Aviation American Gin.
Aviation gin. All right. Well, that's some Opa shit right there. I'm into that. The only time I ever drank gin really was when my Opa passed, and they didn't know where to put all of his Tanqueray. He had a ton of Tanqueray. He was always ready with Tanqueray, and so
they just gave it to you.
Yeah. So they gave me bottles, big
fuck.
bottles of Tanqueray, and I was like, you know what? Cheers, Opa. And I drank a lot of gin, and I was like, okay.
I thought I liked gin. And I had like I guess I was having a gin that didn't taste like gin, and then I tried like Tanqueray. Like, this is not good.
Is there a specific reason you think he would sponsor us specifically? Did he recently tweet that he's looking for people to send bottles to?
No.
Or is this we're just tweeting at him saying, "Hey, please send us booze"? Because I'm kind of okay with either explanation. The other video package they put together on NXT. He's been sponsoring people left and right.
Oh my god!
Just giving that shit away. Let's try it. The other package they did that I thought was absolutely great was Finn Balor. Amazing video package with him. I would say definitely go back and rewatch the opening things just to see how it's all pieced together. Not because you don't know it, but because the presentation of it was done so well.
I'll check it out for sure.
But the Finn Balor project was really, really good.
That's pretty cool. Sorry.
What?
Ryan Reynolds is donating 30% of aviation gym proceeds to out-of-work bartenders.
Oh, damn.
That's pretty
How
sweet.
do the out-of-work bartenders get that? If you can find out or see the article, just send it to me, because I have a few out-of-work bartender friends.
Yep.
So if they can get a little piece of that. And it was a great build to Finn Balor and Walter and all that. So I'm really excited about that.
There you go, on your phone, the magic. Magic hat.
There we go. And then the other one was Rhea Ripley and Charlotte, which I'm just still not buying into this match as an important match or something that I should really care about. And I really just think that, let's see, most of the people he thinks are genuinely funny, but I think you guys are entrepreneurs enough to get a sponsorship out of Ryan Reynolds. So we send him like a highlight reel.
I don't know if that's an insult or a positive.
Yeah. I think.
How low are his standards?
No.
There's gotta be, the dude's gotta like farts, right?
Yeah.
Like we've got a lot of those highlights.
We're sponsored by the guy from Just Friends.
Dude, there's no way he won't laugh at our New Year's show. Let's send him Gabe losing his mind.
Just shoot this ranch dressing in that shit. That's
yeah.
your contact on my phone is Marsh. There's ranch dressing in that shit.
Yeah. No, it's descriptive. I think I've stopped caring about Charlotte Flair a long time ago from a character standpoint.
Yeah.
It's just stale to me. And I think as far as Rhea goes is I did follow her some in NXT UK, but we're in a world that they've created where NXT UK doesn't matter and it's weak. And so
it's hard to get them over here right now because they can't fly.
Before then they were burying them. Let's see, imagine he wants to be on one show at least once first. What?
Ryan Reynolds, I mean, that would be a less attractive Gabe. Do we want him on our show?
What do you mean? If he wants to be on the show, he can be on the show. I'll call him in.
I'll Discord him.
We'll
pick him up from the airport.
Yeah, I'll pick him
up. You cool riding in a 2011 Kia Soul missing the siding? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Smells like farts.
But Rhea Ripley, she's been such a new champion who hasn't done much with it. Yeah. It's like I don't really care. I'm not really into the idea. I just don't care about it. I think it's probably going to be a good match because I think that both of them can wrestle. But as far as getting me invested or caring about this match, they've done absolutely nothing to make me think that there's any actual personal beef here. That there's any reason that one of them deserves to be there necessarily. Like they're just both kind of handed this like, oh, wouldn't this be cool for people to see? So I just didn't care, and this package didn't make me give a shit.
I get that. They could have done something up. Well, do you think they're going to do more this week when they're going to go like into Adam Cole and stuff like that too? They'll just keep because
they went into Adam Cole with the Gargano Ciampa thing.
Oh, okay.
At least a little bit. Why was Cole supposed to do?
I don't know.
Is he defending against anybody?
I think so. I mean, he fucking has to.
Against who? Did he have a takeover match even? Was he supposed to be? Let's see. Adam Cole.
Keith Lee? No.
Takeover Tampa. Let's see what was supposed to be there. 4 potential opponents. I don't think we even got to that point. Damian Priest. That's not happening. Taylor Bates not happening.
Sorry, that was loud like giggle.
No, Had
Oh,
to turn the
Velveteen
volume
Dream.
down a while back.
Sorry.
Velveteen Dream. That's who he was supposed to face. Remember? Because he did that whole War Games thing.
Yeah.
Or whatever in the cage. So Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole. Yeah, I don't think there's enough content there to make a video about it.
No, no.
There's very little between them at all. And I never cared about that match either. But NXT did announce that all the takeover matches they had announced are going to air on USA starting April 1st. So they're just going to start doing those matches.
Okay. They're not going to be part of WrestleMania?
They're not going to be part of WrestleMania weekend. They're just going to be on NXT USA.
Kick them down the card. Good job. Cool.
Yeah, kick them way down the card. Put Rhea Ripley on WrestleMania for why, who knows, to waste a Rumble, I guess. And that's where we're at with it. That's what they're doing. So any of those matches were just going to be another match.
Jeez.
And it sounds like, right, in an empty arena. How do you put 6 women in a ladder match with no one in it? I mean, like, I think a ladder match is a crowd match. That's a needs the crowd match, because you walking up a ladder super slow like an idiot is only works because the crowd is screaming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you start climbing up all slow, you just look like an idiot going up a ladder slow.
I feel like we just talked up WWE so much, and then that sentence itself, just like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So many great things. Oh, by the way.
Mm-hmm. The future of NXT looks bleak, but I liked what they did this week.
Yeah.
And then this coming up week, they're doing more Adam Cole Gargano stuff, where they said that they were destroying the Performance Center and they've gone too far, and now they have to see Triple H face to face. And so Triple H is going to tell them both to behave or they'll get detention, I guess. From what I gather.
You made the principal come out, boss.
Yeah.
We almost have these ingredients. Emergency C mixed with American gin.
Oh,
good
Yeah.
God.
Oh, we would make those on the show live if we were sponsored, but here we are.
Emergency
Unsponsored and buying whatever's on sale.
It's true.
Emergency,
Yes.
can you sponsor us?
Actually, yeah, we can use some emergency sponsorship,
Yeah.
some booze sponsorship. Charmin, if you're listening.
Yeah.
um,
A company that not only makes bidets, but installs bidets.
bidet to you, sir.
Toto, that fancy Japanese toilet company. Sponsor us and make me a toilet.
Oh, dude, if they could just ship us a Japanese toilet,
And
we'll put it right here in the middle of the front room.
A Japanese toilet and a Japanese to install
Yes.
it.
But that was it. That was AEW. It was a recap show, but it was more like a documentary show, which I thought was a really cool way to do that and bring people up to speed, because they keep rehashing old shit and pretending like everybody just knows.
Yeah.
So he was a really cool way to like cinematically bring it all together and tell that story.
Yeah.
With that in mind, when I got home from work that day, the first thing I did was turn on AEW. I watched the last chunk of it there. Or I should at least say I sat through the last chunk of it there. Then I went back and rewatched it from the beginning. And when I got to the part that I had gotten to, I turned it back off.
Okay.
I didn't like watching the Young Bucks to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But this whole show was built on the idea that they're going to be doing a Blood and Guts show, which would be the following week, which would be this week, which is going to be a 5-on-5 tag. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, that seems like ill-advised to me. And then the next match that they announced was Luchasaurus and against who? He was going to go up against somebody.
For this coming week?
Yeah.
It's Luchasaurus versus...
What was it, the Butcher or the Blade? Was it one of them?
Oh, yeah, Luchasaurus versus just one of them, versus, I think, Butcher.
I think it was just the Butcher, and it was supposed to be a lumberjack match. And I thought, daring in this time, that you would say, oh, not only are we going to do a bloody cage match with 11 people in the ring, we're also going to have every single person in the roster sitting ringside.
Think of it like, they already had that. Think of it like WWE Women's Lumberjack match. It was like 3 people. Like, they had like
well,
one person.
They had 2 on each side because they only had 8 women in the roster.
Yeah, just do that.
Yeah. Let's see, things we learned. Devon says, or Devin Sawa is a wrestling fan. When did you learn that? When was Devin Sawa stating he was a wrestling fan?
I think he randomly posts stuff on his Twitter, like about WrestleMania before. And, I don't know. He just randomly posts wrestling tidbits here and there.
It's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Why isn't he watching our show? Devin, if you hear me. Yeah, he was from Casper, dude.
Wait, was he Casper?
He was Casper.
Yeah, and Final Destination. Classics.
Yeah, classics.
Yeah.
Yeah, wrestling fan. Obvi.
We all know Macaulay Culkin.
What did you think of AEW?
Oh, I liked it. I thought so if NXT was kind of like a documentary, I think AEW was kind of like a play almost. I think it because of how they had all of the people around the ring, and they did have fair space. So it was like clusters of people around it, and they kept going to them, so that it wasn't just this awkward, empty thing. It's like, okay, well, let's make crowd reaction by having our people here. I liked Sean Spears and MJF being dicks outside of the ring and stuff like that, like being the old man in the Muppets, kind of. Mm-hmm. I liked that aspect of it. I think it was different. Now, was it perfect? No. There's a lot of things that I think are wrong with it, and there's a lot of things I think they could have done better, but I think they did a lot they did a lot right, and I'm kind of excited to see how this continues to go. You know?
I thought they did some really good stuff there. I did feel like, so I felt like the difference between WWE and AEW was WWE was trying to see how much they could do with how few people, and AEW was trying to see how many people they could get away with doing stuff with. That's really what the feeling of both shows looked like to me, where there was all like, okay, what's our legal maximum? We're going to hit that, and we're going to do what we can with it. Where WWE felt like, okay, what's the most we can do with this few human people?
Or another way to see it is like AEW is like, okay, how can we create the reaction we want with as few people as possible? You know what I mean?
But it wasn't as few people as possible. There were people out there in the audience who weren't used. They were just there to make noise. There were extra people there. You can see them.
Okay.
I mean, it was fine. I didn't dislike the show. And as a bubble, I actually thought it was a really good show. I felt with everything going on, it made me nervous. I was like, it's just going to take one of these guys to actually catch something. And then the whole show looks like a really bad show. But I thought it was a good show as it was. And to be honest, this is closer to what I thought AEW was actually going to look like. Not that I felt they wouldn't have a bunch of fans, but that I felt like we were really going to see AEW do stuff that was more cinematic, do stuff that was more dramatic, do stuff that involved their talent on a different way than we're used to seeing.
I do like that joke.
What?
I like that line. Not that I didn't think there'd be less people.
Yeah.
No, but I think it was a really good show. I liked it a lot.
It was a good show as a standalone show.
I think
with everything that's going on, I was like, I don't know, because they had Jake out there, they had Arn out there, they had
I didn't like Jake.
You didn't like his promo?
I didn't like his promo.
Why didn't you like it? Are you not sure how to word what you didn't like about it? Because I can give you a guess. It put himself over, and it did not put over Voight. It was a Jake the Snake promo about Jake the Snake being a badass. And it was like, who the fuck's the guy standing next to you? Don't worry about that.
It also came off, so like, I think part of it is a lot of the Jake the Snake promos I've seen have been him, like, it sounded very similar to, like, me when he was not doing great. Like, the way he came off, how long-winded it was, how he was I think it might have been nervous, and he was tripping over words. It sounded like his promo from Heroes of Wrestling, which is when he was not doing great, because it was, like, a lot of bouncing around, and I think he needed to be narrowed down. I think somebody needed to, like, cool, you have this much time to do it. He might be out of practice. He might be not in the same spot. He's, I just think it wasn't a great promo. So I didn't like that.
I don't know that he's ever really gotten anybody else over.
He's great at getting himself over because he's the only person that he can get over with that slow, methodical, like, scary style. It's hard to get someone else over because that's a shit manager.
Yeah, and he's a big guy. So he makes his guy he's managing not look very big. Like, that was my problem with Titus O'Neil. It doesn't matter who he's standing by, he's bigger than them. Yeah. And you're all like, well, why has he got this little crew of clowns?
Go get him, champ.
Yeah.
Go get him, sport.
Yeah.
No, I think I did like the segment they had, the cinematic of Lance Archer at like the weird indie thing. But at the same time, I kind of wish, and I don't know if this would have been possible, this would have been an amazing time if you could have reached out to a company to give them stuff for you to showcase what he's done in other places. Yeah. Imagine how impactful that would have been.
Like they did with Jeff Cobb.
Yes.
Right before they buried him. Immediately.
Yes.
What a waste of Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, I know. But like, cool, let's show him in the Killer Elite Squad. Let's show him doing stuff in NJPW. I like the cinematic. I like the attempt. I think it's something that they've shown they can make good cinematics, and it was cool to see that again. But I think you could have also added in, or just instead, that would have been a cool spot to say, "Cool, here's what Lance Hoyt's done in NJPW against Jon Moxley. Yeah, he lost, but he fucked up Jon Moxley. That was a badass match."
Hoyt was in a match with Moxley?
Archer. Lance Archer is Lance Hoyt.
I know, but when was that?
That was at, I think it was at Wrestle Kingdom. It was for the U.S. title.
When Moxley had it?
Yeah.
Is that how he lost it?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is that when he retained it?
He retained it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd have been good.
Yeah. No.
But they're trying to make Moxley look a certain way, and they did a weird thing with Moxley. I would say it was a really good show that had some really weird shit in it. That there was times where I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I liked Cody's. I liked the opening. I liked Cody's intro. I liked Kenny's part. I didn't like the Matt Jackson's part.
I liked Cody up until he started trying to book the show, right? Because he was putting together this really good thing. He sounds great. He looks awesome, except for that weird looking thing. And then he starts going like, "That's why it's going to be crazy. I'm going to ask these people to have a match with me and all this stuff." And you're like, okay, none of that sounds crazy, and this doesn't make sense. And then Kenny comes out, and I didn't like his shit where he's just like trying to be. If he could just never talk, and if he could just run different, and then move different, and use an actual psychology in his matches, I might like him.
What's upsetting to me too with Kenny at times is
his talking is the absolute worst.
His talking in NJPW was fucking amazing.
Was it?
When he was the cleaner, and in that character, when he's the head of the Bullet Club, fuck, I liked his promos. Like, I sent you that promo where he, in the middle of it, cut to Japanese only.
Oh, yeah.
Because he wanted to differentiate himself as the Gaijin heel and be like, no, I'm not a Gaijin heel. I know your language. I know how to, not only do I know how to speak it, I know the mannerisms too. And he spoke to the audience in Japanese and got one hell of a reaction. He is good. I think it's him trying to define his character that's different. Maybe we need to narrow Kenny down and be like, okay, Kenny being Kenny hasn't worked out fantastic. Let's try and make it a little bit more of a hybrid to something else.
Yeah, EVP Kenny's got to go.
Yeah.
I don't like the way he talks to people. He comes off super patronizing, super self-indulgent. Comes off like, I'm an artist, I'm not a performer. If you listen to Kenny Omega interviews and Bret Hart interviews, you think Kenny Omega's a guy who takes himself too fucking seriously. You know what I mean?
And Bret Hart's the kind of person who...
Yeah, Bret Hart comes off real fucking chill. You know what I mean? Like, and believe me, I fucking love Bret Hart.
But he's kind of intense.
But he's super fucking intense. And he takes himself way fucking serious. I just watched the whole Smoking Skull today with Austin and Bret. And I literally ended up at the edge of my seat. What?
Broken Skull.
What did I say?
Oh, I thought you
Smoking?
I thought you said smoking. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it'll just go hand in hand. But yeah, Broken Skull Sessions, I believe, is correct. But
Broken Skull.
I was watching that, literally finding myself at the edge of my seat, just grinning like a child, because here I am watching two of my favorites break down their WrestleMania 13 match and talk about stuff and give insight. They're watching the match and they go, "Oh, look, here's where you gig me." And you're like, what the fuck? Like, they're just breaking it down. And then to hear Bret talk about how he just wanted to have matches that Vince could go back and have a library of classic matches with him. And he goes, and you don't determine if it's a classic match. He said that he hates how people nowadays, they'll just say like, "Oh yeah, this guy just had a classic match with this guy." It's not a classic until 10 years down the line, people are still talking about it.
Yes.
You don't declare it at the time.
There's very few matches I would say right now that are stuff that I would see that in. Like, I think they're great matches now, but there's certain, like, there's matches I think that I'll watch in 10 years and be like, that was still cool. I can name a few.
I know, I'm trying to think of any, and the only thing that comes to mind immediately is Cody versus Dustin.
Cody versus Dustin is one of mine.
I think it'll be talked about for a long time.
Omega versus Okada 2.
I don't think that anyone else is talking about that. I think NJPW fans are, but I think that the wrestling world on whole is not.
And I think that's why they have it for free on YouTube. Please watch it. I think it's an amazing match. There are going to be matches that people have not seen that I think, like, when you watch it, like, I did not have NJPW World.
I don't have a problem with the match. I want to see the match because I've heard my nerd-ass friends talk about the match, but it's not a match that other people are talking about. It's the Meltzers and the Meltzer obsessives that are talking about.
And I don't like Meltzer, but no, I
you know what I mean? And that's what it is.
Yeah.
when you have the masses, when you have these meet and greets, like Brett was talking about, I'm gonna bring it back to Brett. So I just saw a thing about Brett today. He's talking about how he still does meet and greets where people come up and talk about him versus Bulldog. They talk about him versus Stone Cold. They talk about him versus Owen in WrestleMania 10. They talk about like 6 or 7 of these matches over and over again, and it's people who go to these meet and greets and go, "Oh my god, that's the guy from the Thing." It made me feel that way, right? I don't see Kenny Omega as of now. I don't see Kenny Omega in 20 years' time in a meet and greet where his line's out the door with a whole bunch of people who haven't watched wrestling in a while but got tickets to this big event and thought, "Oh my god, that's the guy who did Okada." You know what I mean? As of right now, I don't think enough people have seen it to appreciate it.
And I think, in a sense, I wish more people did see that. I think it is like.
Is it on the one that's free?
I'll send it to you. No, but it's a.
I heard that trilogy's pretty sick.
It's 4, and the trilogy's fantastic. The fourth could take over for one of the 3. I think the first one's good. The second one's the best. The third one's okay. The fourth one's like whoa.
Really?
Because the fourth one's when Kenny finally wins.
I think it's also funny. Jim Ross commentated that, and people keep asking him over and over again. He's talked about it in his podcast where people say like, "Oh, what do you think was the better trilogy? You know, Okada Omega or Ricky Steamboat?" Or they'll say like, "Oh, but obviously Okada Kenny was the best trilogy you've ever done." And he's every time without hesitation, no, it was Ricky Steamboat for sure.
Yeah.
Like he's never like wavered on that. He goes, "Oh, and it was incredible." He's like, "Don't get me wrong." He goes, "I loved that trilogy and I thought it was great." And he goes, "But it wasn't Ricky Steamboat."
And I think
Ricky Flair.
Well, and part of it too is it's also like a moment in time thing for people too. I feel like for me, coming back into wrestling, that's why it's something that's to me in that because it's a moment in time that really got me into it. Like really, because at that point,
did you just fall asleep?
No, my head's just.
Oh. I just looked over and I was like, "Wait, she's sleeping."
Trying to make it better.
No, but like I think at that point WWE to me was not doing the greatest content.
No, for
like,
sure.
It got significantly better. It was right around when KO was coming into the main rosters. Okay, cool. And the New Day was good, and I was like, okay, I'm liking the some, but the NJPW stuff was fantastic, and that's what got me back in. Because I had a friend, one of my wrestling nerd friends, who got me into. Is like, you need to watch Kenny Omega stuff, and he was telling me to watch it during DDT, which I do like DDT. Okay. It's silly, but you know.
Yeah. Let's see. Kagaro was saying AEW is the only company that openly hates WWE but can't stop making fun or of indirectly referencing or stop mentioning them as well. I agree 100%. They still reference them constantly.
I'll say this. I don't think they directly hate them. I
think it's true. I think that Cody still appreciates them.
I think overall they appreciate them because the thing is, I think in referencing them, it's hard to. I don't see it the same way like Bischoff in WCW.
But he could get there. They're towing that line.
I think they're deliberately towing the line because I think they want to reference WCW, but in like a tongue-in-cheek way.
But I also don't like that.
Well,
I don't like the tongue-in-cheek shit.
I get you. Let me finish what I'm saying. Yeah. I think with how they reference it, I think it's good because to me, when you out and out hate something, you would be to me like TNA. TNA would not talk about WWE, but they'd be like, you know, this person's famous, and then would bring them back in their gimmick. They'll reference things going on and stuff more because I think it's kind of a tribute. It's kind of like a talking about it because you have to, because these people are from the greater world of wrestling coming in here. You know, you can't just say this person's amazing. Well, why? It's kind of like in WWE. They have to say, well, Gallows and Anderson, they were the IWGP World Tag Team Champions, or AJ Styles was the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. You have to reference that in some capacity. So I see it similar to that, though I think they put a little bit more humor into it. I think, in a sense, also they're aware their fans might have this weird dislike of WWE and they're frustrated with WWE because that's kind of what created them.
But they're feeding into that so much as they're asking people who are fans of WWE to not be fans of theirs as well.
And I think it's calmed down a lot. To me, it's not nearly as much. It's not breaking the throne again. Though I thought that was a funny moment because it was kind of neat. I don't see hate. I see reference, like or reverence. You know, like. But you gotta be. It's almost like SNL-ing it. We're gonna make funny because we like.
Yeah, but that comes off super fucking pompous. And when you're number 2, you're not number 1. It comes off fucking petty and jealous. And that's what bothers me, is I wish that they would be stronger in who they are and not just be like, well, we're not them. Well, we're not them. Okay. It's that whole fucking mentality where someone's all like, that's okay, you're going through this horrible thing because I went through this horrible thing. Well, it doesn't make it okay you went through a horrible thing. You know what I mean? Like, you can't say...
Sympathy versus empathy.
Yeah, it's a sympathy versus empathy thing. You can't be all like, oh yeah, it's not a problem that you got beat the fuck up because my family, they mostly got murdered. And you're like, okay, well... It doesn't mean it's okay I got the beat shit out of me, but it's also not okay that happened to you either. So for their whole argument to be like, well, we're not them, it doesn't matter. Stop talking about them. Just be you and build into your legacy. And I actually wish still that they would build into the Dusty legacy, which they seem so hesitant to do, to just lean on Dusty as a legacy they want to do. They're like pussyfooting around it. They got that fucking bell in the back. They got these little things here and there where they talk about his, my dad, this and that. Just stand on that. Stand on the Rhodes name and stand on the Rhodes legacy. And sorry, Bucks, but you guys need to stand on the Rhodes legacy as well, because your legacy is none. You guys are guys who sold T-shirts to a confused crowd. And I say that because from what I've read and seen from other things, there's a good chance that there was a chunk of their T-shirt sales were just to gun owners. The Bullet Club was just a cool gun shirt to have.
Fair point.
So you confused the market. You didn't have anything wrestling on it whatsoever, and it wasn't the Young Bucks.
I did have a fair amount of people who thought it was a really cool Second Amendment shirt. I was like, nah.
Right. And that was a pretty common thing. And I saw it for a long time. I had no idea it had anything to do with wrestling. And I even asked people about it, and they would say, it's just a cool shirt. So, like, it was a confused market. So, yeah, Young Bucks, you guys need to step back a little bit, lean into the Dusty stuff. Because that's where you're going to get people.
Well, and I think, so when I say that is, I think it's not... Unfortunately, I think... What makes this a confusing thing to say is I think parts of the company have no reference for WWE. And I think parts of the company and parts of the creative, and I will say ownership, don't. I feel like we've heard stories of Matt and Nick Jackson having a great relationship with Triple H. Same with Cody. Cody's talked about a lot.
What? I've never heard the Young Bucks having a good relationship with Triple H.
They've talked about it because they had the big signing thing and stuff like that. And
do they think that talking to someone is having a great relationship with someone?
Hey, it's better than not. I mean, we've heard stories, but I think conversely, Tony Khan does not like WWE. I think Tony Khan, in a sense, wants to be Eric Bischoff, and I don't like that. And that's what I think
he thinks he's the next Paul Heyman.
Yeah, no, I do. But he comes, I
kept it in.
So did I. And you yelled at me in front of everybody. All my friends.
It's like one viewer said.
Hey.
But I don't like that. That's why I think it's like a balance, because I think, or the sense I get from the tweets from like Tony Khan, I could see this show if you think if you think AEW is making fun of WWE now, based on certain tweets from their owner, I could see it being a lot worse, and I think they're towing the line fairly well. I would like to see it less, and I think, there's a balance to it. I'd like to see them talk about Dusty.
I think Jim Ross needs to fucking relax. He talks way too much about WWE on commentary. He brings them up a lot, especially when it comes to like weird petty shit, like their 10 count rule, which they don't fucking abide by for one, and for him to keep leaning into it, that's a rule because it's ridiculous to have a 5-second rule, and you're like, what? And you're like, other places aren't realistic in their rules, and you're like,
I think
what the fuck is your problem?
I do agree with that. So,
like,
I think the statement "other places" is bullshit. Nobody should say that.
Yeah, just stop.
Because to me, that I'm okay with the references in silly ways. Mm-hmm. I don't like when you like attack, and that's bullshit. That's
true too.
Yeah, like I'm cool with breaking the throne because I think that is funny. I'm cool with talking about certain people. I'm cool with certain weird references. Yeah, but I don't like.
I mean, it popped me when Jake went, "I'm a Hall of Famer."
I think that was cool.
Yeah, we both went.
Like, I don't even know how I feel about that, and I think that's a good response to have. You know what I mean? The fact that I saw him go, I don't know if I like that. That's good. You know what I mean? Like, it's just good wrestling. Yeah. To have me go like, whoa.
And I think that's cool. I think that's the right thing to do. Like, you can lean. Like, I really don't like when. Like, I always think of Impact and WCW as the way when it's too far but too bad in two ways. And Impact never referenced them at all, but would cheat gimmicks. Like, well, we get the Road Dogg Jesse James called BG James and Billy Gunn, who's called Billy Gunn because his name's Billy fucking Gunn. but they're going to be called a different thing. Oh, we got the Dudley Boys, but they're called Team 3D. Oh, we got Hogan, but it's going to be this weird thing. Oh, we got this, but it's going to be this.
Yeah.
Quit referencing them in that capacity. Let them do something new, or talk about it. Or the other side of WCW, where it's like, we're not going to do this, but we're going to make fun of you. We're going to name this guy Vincent. We're going to talk about results on air. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to actively hate it.
Legit talking about the other show.
Yes.
And then was Eric Bischoff challenging Vince McMahon to a fight at a pay-per-view. Like,
coming out with the sign Raw hates ratings.
Yeah.
Having Medusa come out with the WWE belt and throwing it.
That bit was... I don't know. That was the that and the Outsiders were the two things I thought, okay, they're making this a battle, but I felt like it was everything after that seemingly weirdly to me went too far. Where it was like that was kind of them. Because did she even say it was a WWF title, or did she just hold it up and throw it in the garbage and say this?
It was the WWF title.
I know it was, but did she say it?
I watched the Attitude Era documentary recently, and she said, "This is the WWE Women's title or WWF Women's title. This is what I think about it." Threw it in the trash. I was like, "Okay." And
yeah, but that's an impact. I mean, Ric Flair showed up on WWF with the big gold,
but it was the NWA belt at that time.
I know. And then they blurred it.
Yeah,
that's so fucking funny, dude.
That's the part where it's too far, when it's actively being and having active animosity toward the thing.
Yeah,
you can reference it and be silly. I think it's a good middle ground. I kind of want WWE to reference them, and they have in the Hall of Fame thing, and I thought it was funny.
I think it's one thing. Well, I don't know. Maybe my problem is that
you and that pissant company.
I mean, that was great. Because it's true. No, I'm playing.
You can't say that, but then be like, oh, but...
No, but I think that... I don't know. I think there's a time and place for winking at the camera. And I don't know that I like it as much as we get it. You know what I mean? Like, I know Matt Hardy's really upset because he was doing his interview and he was talking about how the broken Matt Hardy gimmick winked at the camera a lot. And would talk to the smart marks a lot. And really made references to things that only the really smart fans would get. And that Vince didn't understand that and didn't appreciate it and didn't want to do that. And he goes, but now I'm in a place that will. And you're like, you're right, correct. But AEW will let you do that. But I find I'm not as interested in that stuff. That, like, it's interesting to you if... I'm more of a fan of, like... I mean, I was rewatching Lawler and Bill Dundee back when I was at the NWA tapings.
Mm-hmm.
I know, obviously, a lot about Jim Lawler, but I didn't know anything about Bill Dundee. I'd only heard of his name. And here I was watching these storylines going back and forth, and I was getting all heated about it. And I was getting invested in it because it was just a good storytelling, and I didn't need to know anything. And I didn't have to think about, is this pertaining to the 60s? Why was this popular at the time? I didn't have to break it down. It was just raw and basic and came off very real, and it was emotionally based. And so when I watched it, I was emotionally invested, and there was no winking at the camera and being like, oh, you'll like this, and oh, for our time, it works. You know what I mean? It just worked.
One, I think this speaks to we're two very different wrestling fans. To me, I like...
That's why I drink and yell at you.
Yeah, that's right. I do like sometimes the wink at the fans. I mean, there's a level to it. I mean, but it's also...
That's what I think, too, is I'm trying to find out where I like it, because I feel like I do sometimes.
It's fine to like it. I mean, there's times where I like the raw, like the basic stuff of it. But the thing to me, I will say this is, I'm more forgiving of it. But I also, there's times where I'm really fucking I truly don't like it on commentary. I don't like. I fucking hate Jim Ross on commentary. I really get tired of his bullshit.
It's crazy too, because I want to like him so bad. He just comes off like he's trying. I don't know. It's just I feel like he's in such a tough spot right now.
He cut off. So during AEW. Cool thing that Jericho was trying to announce was that his shirts, the proceeds are going to the World Health Organization. Jim Ross cut his ass off, and that upset me. That really, truly upset me because he didn't let him get back in, but he cut it off, and it not like you could hear, yeah, proceeds go to the World Health. Well, it's cut and Jericho didn't jump in, and it kind of looked weird, and I'm like,
okay, so if you want to say that Jericho's the best heel in the business, they need to go one way or the other. You either acknowledge that he's actually not a good heel. He's a pretty bad heel, but he's a pretty good talker. And there's a difference. So he can tell the crowd to boo me now, and they will, because they obey what he says, because he's very charismatic. Mm-hmm. I remember watching him live for the first time, and he came out, and it wasn't even on TV yet. I remember him just talking to the crowd, And man, God, all of us, me included, were just like just playing the fiddle, just whatever he wanted us to do or say. We were just on board and doing it. He's just so charismatic, and he can talk to the crowd and say, "This is what I need from you guys." Effectively, he says it in a way that you don't even realize he's saying it. That's what he does. Well, so he's good on the mic, but he's a bad heel. If you're a heel out there, you're gonna say I'm giving money to charity, and you're the best heel in the business.
I could see him saying something that would be good for it, but the thing is, more than that, I get what you're saying. I get that as a wrestling fan, but I also feel like Jim Ross just cutting off talent when they're talking.
Is old fucking school. JR is old.
It didn't come off like old fucking school. It just come off like shutting people down, and it did. He did that multiple times, but it was
because that's how old he is. That he'd be like, "Shut the fuck up, you're a heel. You don't say that shit. You're a heel." You know what I mean? Like he's harsh. I think. So I'm not disagreeing with you that it might be the wrong thing to do. I'm saying, being that old school, you're a fucking heel. You don't give to charity. You take from people. You know what I mean? Like,
I could see him being like, yeah, and do it like, and in doing that, every shirt you're gonna buy, I'm still making 70% of the fucking thing, like adding to it. But to me, it came off to me, and in a sense, I appreciated it in this moment, but I didn't see that part because I was focused on like, don't cut someone off when they're trying to fucking do something cool for your fans. They might want to hear, because you could also, and this goes to Tony Khan and AEW writing. Motherfuckers, you should have said that at other points in the night. That would have been cool to add to Cody's speech. Have somebody else say, hey, we're doing
Cody
this.
Should have said it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Cody should have said it on Jericho's behalf. Because as much as I hate Jericho, we're tossing in one of his shirts too. You know what I mean? It'd be easy. And then Jericho doesn't have to do it. And he could even say, Jericho could, as a heel, sell more shirts by saying he doesn't want you to buy that shirt.
Yeah.
Buy my other shirts. I'll make more money off of that. This one, all the proceeds are going to there, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're sending all of my money to some fucking charity. That's a heel thing to do, but it's a wink to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the fans that like being winked at. They'd have bought shirts because, oh, cool, how good is that? And they all would have said, what an amazing heel he is.
Yeah. Fair. I've more and more disliked.
I agree that Cody should have said it. He should have opened up with, these are the shirts we have online. All of these proceeds are going to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Let's get into this.
I think Excalibur has been doing better and better on commentary, and I think this week was maybe his best on commentary.
It could be.
I really do say that him and Taz, I think, work better than him and JR and Tony Schiavone. I think him and Taz bounced off of each. Well, no, I feel like their dynamic was good, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then you had some old fuck in the middle going off. I love JR to death. I love his voice, and I love the impact he had on me in wrestling as a kid. But right now, him in this combination sucks. I would rather.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
I think that Taz's thing, the reason he works with Excalibur, is because that dude couldn't be more down his throat with AEW right now. It doesn't matter what they say or do. Everything is perfect. Everyone is amazing. Everything's hysterical. Everything is the best that it can ever be. No one has room to grow in that company, as far as he's concerned. The way he talks.
He made an H2O Jones reference.
I know. I heard that. I was so fucking excited. Dude, I was wearing the shirt the other day. I got the fucking water bottle over here. I'm a huge Taz fan.
Yeah. You do not like Taz being a shill for AEW?
His over-the-top shill for AEW, especially after all the years that he's had just being like, I'm just an honest guy. I just say how I feel. I just say it how I want it. This is literally paid to play. You no longer sound like you're talking for yourself. When AEW first hit the ground, the first few things that they were saying and doing, he was sitting there, he was tearing apart WWE, and he was saying this is what WWE did right. Or in his mind, right? Everyone's got our opinions. This is what they're doing right, this is what they're doing wrong. At the end of the day, none of us fucking know. We're just guessing and bullshitting because we like to, right? He was just one of them too, except he had more information than us. He had more background than us. So his opinion goes a little bit further than ours. But at the end of the day, what was it more than opinion? Not much. Other than more interesting, you know what I mean? And then as soon as he started doing the AEW stuff, it was like, oh, AEW needs to do this. Oh, they're doing this wrong. This wasn't good. This wasn't good. And you could tell the day he started talking to them, because all of a sudden it was like, hey man, he did a watch thing. He watched with he was doing an interview with Conrad on his own show. Conrad's like, I'm gonna send you some stuff with Orange Cassidy. I think you might dig it. And he goes, I've seen Orange Cassidy, man. I'm not playing that. He goes, if you're in the ring with me and you're doing that, I do simulated combat. I'm knocking you the fuck out. You know what I mean? And he goes, I'm not into that. All of a sudden, like 2-3 weeks later, he goes, I think the best gimmick in the company is in the world right now is Orange Cassidy.
Well, I think the biggest thing that maybe, and this is the podcasting in general, I think it's working everyone. And the more I listen to stuff, the more I fucking don't like it. All of them. with the exception of Conrad, because Conrad he's not on any company because he
plays both sides for sure.
Bruce does it for WWE and to the point where it gets really annoying sometimes. But I do love Conrad calling him it. I wish Conrad would call JR because I really get tired of JR being like, well, over at AEW, we do this and we're doing all the right things and I'm like, I like JR stories, but then when he gets into it, he starts going off on
yeah, who did that help? No one. Who did that help? Nobody. That's the problem over there with that company. And you know what? At least AEW is not doing that. And you're like, okay, fucking relax. And I've had to stop listening to most of Conrad's podcasts because it's become too obvious.
I wish Conrad to call JR on it like he calls Bruce on it because I do like something to wrestle because Conrad will call Jim, but I'd be like, look, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because at times, like, it is frustrating. And then, fucking Sam is also fairly good, but I think they're all doing it. I think
Sam Roberts?
Yeah, he's decent in the middle, but I think it's also because he doesn't do AEW. He doesn't talk about AEW.
Not much.
Yes.
He will from time to time, especially on his Patreon only one. He'll bring him up. He'll say what he likes about it. He'll jump in the chat room and talk with us. And he talks about what he likes that they're doing and stuff, right? But he doesn't talk about it as much on the show. So that's true. But the thing that Sam's trying to push more than anything is, for one, he's always liked WWE the most. Just it's from childhood.
That's fun.
But at the end of the day, his whole thing is, and he said it a few times, I want to like it. He goes, I don't want to hate it. So he goes, when I see something that I don't like, my thought isn't, fuck this. It's, what could this mean moving forward? How could this be good? What could they use? How could they use this to be something good? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the conversation with Sam is so different, I think, where everyone calls him a shill, and I get it. And I don't disagree entirely because he always does nice, positive things with WWE. But from where he's coming from, it's because of how badly he wants to like it, right? And where some of these people are coming from,
this is my paycheck.
And Sam gets paid by WWE. That's also, I mean, he jokes about that too. And he goes, hey, once they stop paying me, maybe I'll say meaner things. You know what I mean? But at least he's willing to say that. Taz isn't willing to say that.
I wish they would. And I think Bruce, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek, like, we know it. Even when he wasn't, it was kind of funny. He's like, quit signing with Vince. But I know it's because
when he ripped on when Conrad was tearing him apart about the Scott Hall stuff, dude, it almost felt like there's a moment you could hear where the mic just cut out and comes back, almost like they had too heated an argument.
I was just listening to that. I was like, damn.
Yeah, there's a moment where he's all like, "That's fucked up, though," and he's like, "It's not." He goes, "You're saying he has to quit?" He goes, "No, he can just suck it up." And he's like, "But that's fucked up."
Yeah, you're saying he doesn't he's supposed to suck it up, but he's a fucking he's gonna have shit spilled on him, and he's in recovery. Well, no. I was like, damn,
dude. He loses it on him, and those are the moments I thought Conrad is us.
Yes, I still think Conrad's us because I think everyone wants Conrad, but I think he's done very well to keep himself separate. And I think he's doing, he'll do things for AEW, like meet and greets. I'm sure if WWE offered him, he'd do it too, but I think it's because he wants to maintain a level of, I'm in the middle. My podcasts are a lot about the history of wrestling, which talks about WCW, WWE, and the territories with Arn. But
have you heard much of the Arn ones? I've heard none of them. Do they talk about NWA much?
A little bit.
Okay.
The thing with the Arn one is, I want to like it, but Arn's
he's hard to listen to.
It's an audio thing. He has trouble talking. His voice is just fucked. But I kind of like it. But that's why I like Conrad. I still like Conrad over all this. So which is good. I think I listen to Conrad basically. If the podcast were, hey, I'm going to talk to people who like WWE or AEW, that'd be cool. His only weakness to me is JR. And that might be just the dynamic that JR can't take that stuff.
JR's gotten real, was it me and Stackhouse talked about it not that long ago with Red Ass JR. Just talking about JR getting all upset and being Red Ass JR. And you can even hear Conrad talk about how popular it was and how good it was. And you think that Jim Ross is going, oh, that's what people want. They want me upset. And you're like, maybe they do. Maybe some of them do. I really didn't. What I liked about Jim Ross for so long is he would talk about the same way. The reason I liked the Taz and the Jim Ross and even the X-Pac and the Jericho for a while was it was a lot of, that's not how I would do it. This is how I would do it. A lot of, I really like the way they did this. To me, that was perfect. It was objective thinking about product.
Yes.
And we lost so much of that. Yes. I can hardly listen to any of these podcasts anymore. I listen to Jim Cornette now more than anyone because he's not paid by anybody, so he just goes the fuck off on everybody. And dude, lately he's been watching WWE, like just Raw and SmackDown, and him and Brian Last are ripping apart my favorite segments, and I'm so like, fuck you guys, you're full of shit. But it's also like, but at the same time, like, I don't know who else to listen to who's not paid off.
No, I
You know what I mean?
I think the thing with like Jim that really bothers me is this: is I keep thinking of this whenever he gets really, really going, and it makes me yelling in my car at Jim. Is this? Look, asshole, when your wife died,
Yeah.
and you talk about Jan so much, and when she died and everything there, Vince extended his hand to bring you back in.
Yeah.
Vince offered you another contract. Vince put you in. You signed up for that shit. It's really hard for me to believe you want to shit all over him when you had that there. If you didn't, you wouldn't have taken it, motherfucker.
Well, and he talks about that too. He talks about how when Jan died that Vince called him and stuff. And I've never actually heard him say a bad thing about Vince. He talks a lot of shit about the company and
that's
who the hell. And you know,
it
Vince and the company seems like they're the same, but I think you'd be hard pressed to get Jim Ross in an interview where he just flat out shits on Vince McMahon. I really do.
No, because when he talks about like the Dr. Heine stuff, and when
oh yeah, that stuff upset him and his family. Yeah.
And when he also goes into like the draft,
yeah,
like there's things there, and you hear that amount of anger. That's when I'm like, I know that you're talking about and then he won't differentiate because he'll say things like, well, it's all one man, and so whenever he says the company, I'm like, no, you're only it's veiled, but it's so thinly veiled you see his face.
Yeah, that's true. And it's the whole like audience of one, they say, which
and then that's the bullshit to me. He ain't gonna say Vince McMahon's fucking me over, but he's going to say everything up until the point of Vince McMahon fucking me over.
But then when they ask him direct about him and Vince McMahon, he goes, I got nothing bad to say about the man. You know, he goes, I've got a good relationship with him. And he'll go on and say nice things about Vince.
And I think the thing is, Vince is
what a torn guy. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe he doesn't know how to fucking feel right now. Maybe we never gave him a chance to really sort it out. Maybe he never took the chance to sort it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe all of it's just so much to handle. Like, how do you expect him to?
I would be happier if he said it's a very complex relationship because of it. If he had like an episode where he just said, I have an extremely complex relationship with that company and the audience of one because of these moments. You know what? I would be happier for it.
Yeah.
And I would be happy if he said, I'm very happy with AEW and I feel like you never shit where you're eating. Be open about it. But I'm going to talk about this. But I think it's hard, and I wonder what the difference is because it wasn't this aggressive when he wasn't working with AEW.
That's true. It wasn't as aggressive for sure. And I do think that Vince does a good job of Bruce does a good job when Conrad brings up stuff happening currently. He just goes, oh, we're not talking about that. Okay. Why can't other people say that?
Yeah.
Why do they feel like they have to say something?
And that's the thing why I've always liked Bruce, and I've had more and more trouble listening to JR, is Bruce has always been Bruce. Bruce is silly and dumb and good, and Bruce has always been a Vince shield, even when he didn't work there. He's just like...
Even when he thought Vince hated him.
Yeah.
He was going to say, I love the guy. And you're
and
like,
I'm cool
that's
with
respectful.
That. Yeah.
It's respectful because you get where he's coming from. He worked with the dude for so long, and you could even hear it in his voice. Even when, like, you put him against the wall, Conrad put him against the wall, it was all like, this was a shitty thing that Vince did. Bruce just didn't have it in him to say that guy was doing a shitty thing. Yeah. And you could go, wow, that guy's got a ton of love for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you could tell, and you're like, but he knows. You can hear it. He knows he did a shitty thing, and he goes, I'm just not going to say that.
Yeah.
You can respect a guy who has that level of respect and love for a certain person to say, I'm never going to say... You'll never get that soundbite, motherfucker. You know what I mean? You'll never take me alive.
Well, and I think to me what it is so like when I went to school for journalism, one of the things they talked about is objectivity is a lie. Any reporter is not objective because there's always a perspective and a background you bring to. There's always a context.
For us, we are completely objective.
But any publication, and they do treat this in a sense like it's like a similar like line of logic is this: if you're open about if you're open with the context of where you come from, then in a sense you're objective. I feel like the context of Bruce's existence as a podcaster is open and upfront. You know about it.
Yeah.
Conrad, JR and Taz, it's not there anymore. Jericho, no, and it's gone, and it's shifted so much, and I feel like it comes off like when you hate, like it comes off like, cool, you're not objective. Nobody's objective, but you are. It's all there because Jericho's the other one. I love listening to Jericho before he went to AEW. because
And right when he went there, it was cool because he was very open. Then all of a sudden, everything's perfect.
yeah, let's bring you and now it's like, let's bring you for sure. You're leaving WWE. Let's bring you over, and what you're gonna do is shit all over WWE.
Yeah. What I really want to hear is Jim Ross and Jericho and Taz all do podcasts 5 years after they're out of the company. Whether or not the company exists or not, I want to hear them 5 years later.
Mm-hmm.
That's all and every time I hear them say anything, that's all I want is, what are you going to say in 5 years, though?
I want.
They come off so insincere is the problem.
And I think what's going to happen is when they all get into the Hall of Fame, well, Jim Ross is already there, but Jericho and Taz will be offered to go in the Hall of Fame. We know they will. And when they go into the Hall of Fame, it's going to be so funny to watch them go back there, because I'm not thinking about them when they're working for the other company. I'm thinking about them in their podcast. Like, look, dude, it is funny how happy you are to still kiss that ring. Because all of this...
Vert when next is asking, what is the motivation to stream? Us specifically? Should we break that down?
Oh, yeah.
I know we've been talking about podcasts for a bit now. What we think about the problem with wrestling podcasts.
That's hilarious.
And maybe that's a little different because I mean, honestly, yeah, our show has been mostly not reviews of podcasts, been reviews of wrestling.
If you're the first time.
Yeah, if you're first time, we talk about what's happening on Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, NWA Power. We typically cover.
Do you want to say
NXT.
what started you getting the show going?
If that's what they're interested in, do you want to know what our motivation was to stream at all? Are you concerned with like our content seems bland right now? I mean, we're talking about podcasts.
I always think that's a cool story.
What made us want to get on
The
a
show.
platform and to do a show at all really branched out from me watching a TV show, or it was a documentary. I think it's on Amazon Prime. I could find you the name, but it had to do with these wrestling podcast guys, and I believe that their name was like the
Store Horsemen?
What?
The Store Horsemen?
What is it?
The four guys from the Comedy Store?
I don't think they were at the Comedy Store, but
They
it was
were
like
comedians?
4 horsemen of podcasts. I don't think they were comedians. They were just wrestling fans, 4 of them who got together and did a podcast. Watching that documentary, I was a fan of wrestling, but I was like, I mean, I grew up I was the kid in school who literally wore like it was a navy blue duster, wrestling t-shirts, black pants, and military boots every day, right? But I wore a wrestling t-shirt every fucking day. I stopped watching wrestling after a while, and that all came and go. But I was watching this documentary, and here were these guys. Ruby Riott was in it. Maybe that might be something you can look up. But it's like 4 horsemen of podcasts. Some sort of podcast 4 horsemen show. And in that, they talked about their love of wrestling, and they were doing stuff at indie shows, and they showed their closet with all their wrestling t-shirts, and it was hundreds and hundreds, not like 100, several hundreds of t-shirts that were like organized by color or by wrestler. It was like they all had them organized different ways, and they talked about how they were embarrassed to wear them in public. They even showed them being in public and being recognized by people and go, oh my god, you're the guys from the podcast, and they were like shy away and they were embarrassed. And I remember being really upset by that. I thought, why are you embarrassed for liking a TV show more than anything, right? Yeah. Like, I like what I like, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a TV show. None of us are involved in it in another way. So it's something we watch on TV. And people were being made to be or feel embarrassed by liking a thing. And here are people who had a successful podcast feeling the same way. They having a hard time? Yeah. Let me see if I can...
When you brought up that when you started working with me, you mentioned it that, so we worked together at a job, and when he came into my store, he transferred down from New York. He quoted John Cena in his like opening thing.
Not like this.
Yeah. And I went up and it kind of sheepishly was like, hey, I like wrestling. Because it's a hard thing, and it's true. Is sometimes when you're a wrestling fan, it's difficult to like it. When I talk to people and I say I do a podcast about wrestling, or I talk about liking wrestling, they get really weird. And I always find it weird because of the amount of people who have like Office shit on. And I like The Office. I like Parks and Rec. I like these shows. But it's the same thing to me. You can like it. It's a cool thing of content. It's an important point of my life. And I like it. I like it for how silly and dumb it is. So I I thought when you brought up the idea of it, I was like, oh, that's awesome, because I went to school for journalism and I wasn't really using it, but I was wanted to, and I thought it was really fun to join in and jump in here. Plus, it was a cool thing to bring up when I got sober. It was kind of a cool, fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Out of that.
Which is ironic because it's sort of a drinking show.
Yeah.
But it was this documentary, and they talked about how embarrassed they were to be wrestling fans in so many degrees. I'm going to see if I can find it on Amazon Prime real quick. But it really upset me that people would be that embarrassed about liking a thing that they liked. Why is it embarrassing to like wrestling? Why do you have to be that way? I don't know. It just struck me. It struck me as this is not okay to make people feel this bad about liking a thing that literally hurts nobody. So I wanted to do a show where we could talk about wrestling. And the thing is that me and Clump and Kevlar, who's not on right now due to the circumstances that we're in, we all have very differing degrees of what we like in wrestling and what we look for in wrestling. And I thought, with the wrestling community being what it is, and the internet community being as terrifying as it seems to be and hateful as it seems to be, how great would it be to just sit down, have a few drinks, talk about what happened in wrestling this week, the way we like to talk about wrestling at work, and then still be friends. Right? Because like in wrestling Twitter, like no one stays friends. It's like, okay, blocked. I don't want to hear that, blocked. And it's like, I'm gonna yell at Clump this whole show and tell him to defend this shit, and this is what I don't like, and why do you like it, and all that.
And I try and deflect to different things so we don't talk about it.
He deflects away so we won't talk about it, and that's fine.
We now don't want to talk about, we're not going to talk about Dynamite because we just talked about podcasting for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's how we get out of it.
I can't find it,
But at the end of the day, like, we're still friends. We still have drinks together. We're still hanging out. We're like, hey, he called me. He needed to move a couch. I moved a couch.
Yeah.
It's okay to be friends and not agree on wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think that it's okay for a chunk of masses to make people feel bad for liking wrestling. And for me, I never cared what people thought. I never cared what people thought of me. I was never into this, oh, you like this, therefore this. Hey, I like wrestling. What are you going to do about it? Right? I had people come to me. I would wear a wrestling fanny pack. It was the championship belt before I moved out here and was working at the other location. And they would say things like, I just don't understand why you like that. I was, okay. Like, it's just because to me it just seems, it's like so fake. And I was like, okay. Like, I just don't think I'd ever watch it. I was like, okay, I'm not asking you to.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not asking you to. You don't have to ever watch it. That's fine. Just don't watch it. If it sounds like you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. And the guy's like, well, I just don't understand it. And I was like, okay, I'm not asking you to understand it. I don't care if you ever understand it. And the guy's like, well, I don't know why you're being like crazy about it. I'm just saying I don't get it.
Because you're attacking me.
Yeah. I was like, well, for one, you're attacking me, but for two, you're wearing a Batman shirt. And the guy's like, what? And I was like, it's Batman. You know Batman's not real, right? Unless you think Batman's real, and in which case I apologize for that statement. And the guy's all like, come on, man. What are you doing? Just saying the same thing you said to me.
And you're exactly right. For Twinix, that's a big thing I think we've both experienced, and that's a big thing that, like, for me, similarly, like, when I talk to people about it who aren't fans of it and try and explain it to them, one of the things that comes up is that, well, it's fake. Yeah, no shit. Game of Thrones is fake. Batman's fake. Everything's fake.
The dude was wearing a Batman shirt when he said it, so that's why I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah, no.
Unless you think Batman's real, you're fucking wrong, pal. Like, but I have a more professional way of saying it.
Yeah. And, like, to me, what I've done in a lot of ways when I know you've referenced the fucking Max Landis video. Wrestling isn't wrestling.
Yeah. It's incredible. I love that video.
Yes.
The second people tell me, like, hey, you know what you watch is fake, right? I'm like, okay, what do you watch that's real?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess my counter.
Do you only watch Cops?
Yeah. Do you watch Cops? Because also I'll tell you, I don't think all that's real. Yeah. Some of it maybe, but it's like, what are you watching that's not fake?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm only watching what's fake, what are you watching that's not fake? Makes them kind of look back in, but then yeah, I always tell them to look at that. Wrestling isn't wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think to me one thing I tend to do when I throw it out to people and I like about this is and we've had a lot of people that aren't into it kind of jump in with us and be cool with us in our lives outside of here. I always throw out to them, like, what I like with it is not the aspect of it being fake. I don't look at it as a sports thing, which it's, you know, I lose myself in it, and I talk about the silly parts of it. I will tell them, like, yeah, I love matches. I love the athleticism. I love it like a stunt show. I love it like when you go to like a bad Halloween show or a bad like local theater, and I love that part, you know. I love so much more than that. I'm never going into it thinking, yeah, it's this. It's like a show, and I think that connects with people more is when you openly say, yeah, I know, dude, but it is funny that it's fake thing. You know, I had somebody, Niels.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a sport, so it's not canceled. I paused and I looked at him and was like, but The Office is canceled, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah, right? And, I mean, I've even told people, too, where they're like, I tell people they hate this shit. And I've done it several times with, like, the NBA playoffs. And I'm like, who's in the lead right now? I'm like, oh, this game's up, 2-1 or whatever. I was like, okay, they're going to go to 6 out of 7. I'm like, what? And I was like, well, they have to. They got to make it the 7 playoff. I was like, there's no reason. You'd lose so much money. And I was like, so this team's gonna throw that game. The next team's going to pick it up. This is how you tell a good story. I would tell them. This is how you tell a wrestling story. This is how it's going to go. Right? And you see those games happen that way, and it would shake the whole fucking world. And you're like, are you trying to tell me that NBA is fixed? I'm like, I don't know if it is or isn't. But I'm telling you what makes a good fucking story. And at the end of the day, you're more invested now than you ever were because of wrestling rules. Mm-hmm. But my whole thing was that I was really upset by the idea of these wrestling fans having a wrestling podcast and being ashamed of being wrestling fans. I have no victim in being a fan of wrestling, and I feel that if you like a thing, there's no reason why you can't take pride in that thing. And trying to be shamed by other people for liking a thing, a show, for being emotionally invested in a great story with amazing characters, they're wrong. And I mean, it was this weird thing where the second that me and Kevlar actually had the idea of, let's put together a show where we talk about wrestling, because me and him would call each other every day on the way to work. What happened on Raw last night? What did you think of this segment? What did you think of that segment? And we broke down every single segment. And
I didn't get that at work.
Yeah, and I get to work. I need to know what Clum thinks about every single segment. Every fucking segment. And then I'd get there and I'd do the same thing. And it was like, why aren't we doing this on a show just so people can be involved? The idea became, we want people involved. We want the conversation to branch out. We got a guy in the chat room earlier. I don't know if he's still there or not. He's in Japan. Yeah. And he comes in and asks us questions about what we think about wrestling. And you know what? One of the coolest things about the Saudi shows, as much as people have the yes or no about the whole thing, one of the coolest things from just sitting back watching is look at that building of people who have the same thing in common as me. We have nothing else in common, and we can't talk about anything. But if one of them were to tweet me, what'd you think of Undertaker versus John Cena at Saudi? What'd you think of John Cena versus Triple H at this thing?
You could talk about it.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it for a while. So for me, the whole point of the show was stop being embarrassed to being a wrestling fan. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the heart of the whole thing was just, it's okay to like wrestling. And it's so okay to like wrestling that it's okay that once a week we get together, we drink, and we talk about nothing but wrestling.
Since doing this, I wear a lot of my wrestling shirts at work and in public now. And it's funny is I get a lot of people who are like, oh, that's cool, you like them. I'm like, yeah. Or when I go to Hot Topic and I buy NJPW or AEW shirts, and like, oh, what's this? And it's funny, the employees don't. I'm like, it's like this awesome wrestling company, you should watch it. Like, okay, calm down, champ.
Yeah, but I was wearing a Dusty Rhodes shirt in Walmart months ago. Mm-hmm. The guy just stops me and he goes, "The American fucking dream." And I goes, "Yeah." And he's all like, "Man, his matches." And the dude leaned in and started telling about these matches he watched and screaming and yelling. It was his dad and crying about it. And he's all like, "No one's been the same since him." And I was like, "No one, man, no one." Like, I wasn't even gonna argue with him about anything he said. I didn't care if I agreed with him or not. but you feel this way right now, and I'm 100% behind it. Yes, feel this way. Feel more of this.
The Burger King at Columbus in 22nd.
Yeah.
It's the one close to my house. Whenever I go there, and if I have like a wrestling shirt on, because I would go there and I eat a lot of fast food. You don't get to 300 pounds without eating a lot of Burger King, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But Bullet Club shirts always have the patch here, and I'd be there, and I swear, like every guy that works at that store at that shop is just like, oh, you watch wrestling? And they ask me and they talk to me about it, and I'm always super pumped. I'm like, this is cool. This is why I like this place, and they'll ask me questions about things, and I love that shit.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fantastic. Vert Winix, let's see, what time do y'all start streaming? We stream it every Tuesday. We come on around 5:30 on the old
Pacific or Arizona time.
Arizona time. Around 5:30 is what we try to hit every time. Marking Out, I think, is the name of the documentary.
Oh.
We won't have it on tomorrow, but you can check our stuff is on YouTube, and we have a lot of back content on our Twitch, so please check it out. And if you can come and join us, we're always here to hang out, or tweet us, message us. We're happy to chat.
2016 Marking Out.
Yeah, Marking Out, I think, is the one. We're here basically once a week, though, but we're on Twitter all the time. You can find me at Ref Marsh. You can find the show at WOTR The Show.
Crybaby Clump, yo!
Crybaby Clump.
It was horrible.
At Twitter. If you hit us a little follow, you get notifications. And if we get locked down in this state and we can't go out, we might start streaming more just to have a little something more to do.
Thank you, champ.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Thanks for asking, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I remember when you came up to me and like, no one knows I'm a wrestling fan. And I was like, that's fucked up. I mean, I didn't say it that way, but I was like, that's fucked up. Because I know how you felt and I know what you meant. And I thought, that's what I'm competing against.
To be fair, the last place I worked, I had a coworker that was a wrestling fan who was maybe the worst. Like, you're the worst example of a wrestling fan, but I do respect him for loving, and he was open about it. But and it was funny though, he would always come talk to me in the room. I was like, you know what, I'm cool with this shit, but I kind of like, I miss him now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be Marking Out. Cause I'm looking at this other one with her in it. Marking Out's the one where it's like a group of wrestling fans who cannot seem to figure out why they can't let go of wrestling. And also like, man, you guys are the problem.
Letting go.
Yeah, why they can't let go of professional wrestling. Travel with them as they meet wrestlers, including EC3, Eric Young, and stars of Chicago and old wrestling fans in an attempt to either rekindle their love or put it behind them. I think
I'll check it out tonight.
They make it sound like it's a cigarette or something. Like,
yeah. Why you gotta let it go?
It's a bad habit.
But 4 years ago doesn't seem like enough time.
No,
I feel like I watched it before then. Maybe that's true. Because I might have watched it on the way to... No, yeah, but I might have watched it on a trip to Hawaii or some shit.
yeah.
It's very possible.
Oh, because you're...
Yeah.
She lived in Hawaii.
Right. Cool.
That was the
It's
station
like,
we did.
when did you win the Publishers Clearinghouse trip to Hawaii?
Yeah, I was get that shit. Yeah, luckily I didn't have to pay for a place to stay. But I had to cook.
And buy $10 gallons of milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting story in and of itself. The idea of why do we do this? Because we want you to be proud of what you like, and we want you to talk about it. We want you to get involved in it.
It's funny is that nerd culture has gotten so huge, but this is that one thing that's still kind of off. It was really cool, and I'm kind of sad now because this year Phoenix Fan Fusion, I kind of wish you'd go if it is going on, because guess who's going to be there? Batista.
That's wild.
But well, he lives actually.
He lives in Mesa, right?
Yeah, he lives in Mesa. So I'm so pumped for it, but they're probably going to cancel because of things.
Yeah.
They should, yes. They announced today they're
Worth it for Batista.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
But last year,
I don't even think I have a Batista thing for him to sign.
Yeah, we got to get shit. But last year, it was cool in that there wasn't a lot of wrestling fans because you were at fucking Starcast.
Toy-Con.
No, you're at Starcast 2.
Oh.
Yeah, because remember that was when Phoenix Fan Fusion was when
That's
Double
right.
or Nothing was.
That's right.
So there's fucking nothing for wrestling there, but there was a few people who were cosplaying it, and we'd all see each other because I wore nothing but wrestling shirts, and we'd all like, dude,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, I want, but everyone else is kind of like, ugh.
Dude, I wore a wrestling t-shirt every I wear them all the time out. We go bowling every Sunday. The guy at the front counter, Josh, loves us because we walk in. He goes, "Oh my god, you guys like watching wrestling?" Yeah, we talk about wrestling every time I walk in.
Nice.
Which
yeah.
we haven't been in a while because.
Well, we're not allowed to be there now. I'm sure they're shut down. They gotta be.
They should be.
No.
What'd you think of the Archer pre-video thing of him beating up people in some weird yard?
I liked the idea of it. I wish they I wished. So I in addition to showing that, because it was a cool edited segment, I thought it was kind of neat. I wish they also showcased him doing stuff in other promotions, because it was like it's showing him be a badass.
Kinda.
But
it came off so weird. Like I really wanted to like it, but so many parts of it were just kind of like.
How badass are you when you're fucking up people in the backyard of someone in fucking Kentucky? And it didn't look great. I think it would have looked way cooler if you showed him fucking people up in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, or shit, Impact. Because that's where he started out. He was part of, he showed his other shit. It would have been fantastic to me, But
yeah,
it was okay. I didn't like Jake. And, I think the part of it that kind of ruined it to me was leading with Jake, where he was just not talking about it. I kind of wanted Archer to talk, not Jake.
Yeah. No, I could get that. Let's see. We can skip some of the stuff that wasn't as good unless you want to talk about it. I wasn't a fan of the women.
What about Matt Hardy? Are you about Matt Hardy right now?
Well, I mean, I was going to get to Brody before that.
Oh, okay.
That's how that show closed.
Sorry.
Just stepping all over me.
I think
the
whole thing.
Never mind.
Although before we get to that,
I do want to say one thing about the women's thing that particularly I didn't like. I noticed this. Hikaru Shida's theme is the underlay of the theme, or at least part of it, is "My Heart Will Go On."
That's funny.
Why?
And I was like, wait.
Why?
Because you hear under. I was like, oh no. And
That's the one that I turned to him and I said, "This is the least likely wrestling entrance that I could ever think of."
Yeah, why is this song here?
Yeah.
They have not gotten their music together yet.
no, what's funny is Alexis was like in.
We can help.
Yeah, Alexis was in the living room, like out doing like telecommuting work on a pause. I'm like, hey, babe. My heart will go on, and she's like, "Oh, fuck you!" Like, just ruined it. And it is, yeah. I hated seeing. I was not happy to see Ryo come back. I think, but I liked seeing Hikaru Shida win, other than having to hear "My Heart Will Go On" again.
Yeah.
I like Chris Statlander. I think there's two decent people in that match, but Penelope Ford and Riho, it just kind of was like, yeah. And it was funny. They're like, yeah.
They're not ready.
Yeah, Riho lost to Penelope Ford and got knocked down. I'm like, yeah, it's fair. She should be knocked down. She's 98 fucking pounds, and it's not believable. I'm not saying that small people can't be believable wrestlers, but the way that they book her doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
She can't be a powerhouse.
It's like having Rey Mysterio go in and be a powerhouse against the Big Show. A David versus Goliath story works. Do that. Be old school.
Yeah. There's definitely things that don't come off very well.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of the match. I did like Hikaru winning.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me because of all the Japanese wrestlers they've thrown at us, she's the only one that's connecting with fans in any way.
Yep.
I don't even know why.
She's good.
Maybe it's her Twitter. Have you seen her Twitter? She's constantly doing stuff on there. She's doing her workout. She's doing her singing. She's doing stuff. I think that she's doing more on Twitter to connect with the fans than it's happening on TV.
She's the most polished, I think, too. Her and Chris Statlander are the most polished people in this division. Because I see when she does...
Oh, God.
Sorry, there's this fucking bug, man.
When she does shit in the ring, she looks good. When you see Hikaru Shida, it doesn't work out, even though she has the most... Or, sorry, when you see Riho in the ring, it doesn't work out because... Yeah, she might be good, but they're not booking her away where it makes sense. If it was her versus someone else who's 98 pounds, I could get it.
Yeah.
When it's her against somebody who's 200 pounds, it doesn't work.
Yeah. So let's watch again.
Nyla Rose.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it works out, Statlander also is way over because Statlander doesn't look like shit.
I think she's still a little too not ready for prime time, but she looks definitely better than most of the division.
Yeah, no.
That's like that. I won't argue. I don't think she'd hang in NXT.
No, that's fair. I mean, I can get that.
But
I don't think Kylie Ray, Smiley Kylie Ray, hangs in Impact.
Really?
I don't think she's done that well.
I feel like she could. I don't know, but the things I've seen have been limited.
No, but so when she left AEW, went to Impact, I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm like, because Impact's women's division's actually pretty fucking good. At least it's got a few really fucking good people. So her coming in.
Isn't that where Tessa and Taya?
Yeah.
I mean, you got Valkyrie over there.
And a big old step down to her.
Yeah. Yeah, Brody Lee show up as the Exalted One. What do you think of him as the Exalted One?
We were talking about this forever, and I think they were really building into making you think it was going to be Matt Hardy. It was going to be Matt Hardy. It was going to be Matt Hardy. I liked how SCU came out and knocked shat on him. I like Brody Lee. I like him in the role. I was happy to see him come in. Because I think he fits the weirdness of it. Because he has that weird 1,000-yard stare that makes sense to me. Because whenever I see Brody Lee, or when he was in the Wyatt family, I couldn't see him be anything other than either this weird inbred hick that based on his outfit, or like something kind of like a scary monster because of just that eye, the way he looked at people. Yeah. So him as the Exalted One, I could see it, and I am excited because while the Dark Order and the Ring hasn't worked out very well, I've liked their promos, I've liked their content, I've liked their cinematics. So I'm kind of excited again. I hope this brings a new age to him, and I think it could be enough.
Let's say they have a bunch of incredible promo videos and all their in-ring stuff sucks. Is that enough to keep them going?
Well, here's the thing: is their in-ring stuff can be better because their in-ring.
Of course, it can be better.
Well, no. Evil Uno is decent on the mic, but he's terrible in the ring.
Evil Uno sounds like a fucking dude who works at Burger King who works at wrestling.
He also looks like it.
Yes.
The other guy,
his voice was so fucking bad.
Grayson, is decent in the ring. Grayson and Harper could be a great tag team. Luke Harper could be fantastic doing it, and I think what you could do is pull it away, move stuff around, and I think it could work. I'm excited to see them try. So I'm cool with that. I think the thing that I didn't like with it, honestly, was I didn't like Christopher Daniels. I think Frankie Kazarian could have delivered that better, and I think Scorpius Sakai could have been better. Because Christopher Daniels, him in this with the Dark Order, it comes off very desperately trying to bury him, and you're like, okay, cool, I get you doing this, but you're also not backed your shit up. Because Christopher Daniels has fucked up in the ring. He's not looking great. I know he's a great talker, but he's not even showing that well. He comes off very mediocre of late, and I'm like, okay, well. But Kazarian and Daniels, or Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, fantastic. And I'd love to see Scorpio Sky's take on this.
Yeah, my concern is, for one, Exalted One came off way too Bray Wyatt. They even did the lamp dangling and him staring at it. I was okay, but like standoffish with this whole, you're not the first out of touch old man to not believe in me, or not believe me. Because he said that is like a knock towards Vince, which is like a fucking smart mark shit. And I'm like, I could do with less smart mark shit right now in general.
See, I just totally buzzed by that. I thought it was just like, I just thought of it like old wrestling in general. But I can get it. But I mean,
that's like a Meltzer line. An out-of-touch old man. Like, that's how he refers to Vince. So it's like, when I heard that, I was like, I'm going to let this one slide, but let's not keep it going. Like, I'll be okay with it if it's a standalone. Yeah. But if he says it again and again, and that becomes part of his fucking gimmick is the out-of-touch old man, I'm going to be real fucking unhappy with it. You know what I mean? Like, but with that in mind, I was really excited to see Brody Lee do anything in AEW. Mm-hmm. I really want to see what he's capable of. I thought his ring gear looked fucking weird and awful. I thought his big boot looked awesome that he laid into Christopher Daniels. His promo looked too Bray Wyatt to me, but if they're trying to connect the dots, and I know the producers had a long time storyline and conspiracy theory that AEW is owned by WWE and they're working for them, then it works in that world too. But I'd like to see, and I'd like to hope, the Dark Order is not going to bring Brody Lee down, because I don't know that he's got enough star power. As much as we all love him, he's a quarter of the star that Matt Hardy ever was.
Yeah.
If you go to any casual wrestling fan and talk about Matt Hardy, they know who they're talking about. A guy at work to me the other day was saying, like, oh, I saw Jeff Hardy was doing this, because it's the first time I've heard of Jeff Hardy in a long time. And I pulled out a Hardy Brothers sticker that I had on my desk, because of course I have that on my desk. So I pulled it out and put it in front of me. He goes like, dude, the fucking Hardy brother. He goes, Matt and Jeff Hardy. That's what I'm talking about. If I said Luke Harper, he'd have been like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right? Luke Harper doesn't have the star power. He doesn't have the history. He doesn't have the replay reels. You can't go back and look at Luke Harper's career and be like, look at this star. It's always like, look at this other guy and these other storylines.
But I could see it. So watching it with, again,
he could be bigger.
Yeah.
He's got room to be bigger. But he's not yet.
And it didn't come out to me like that. Like, I think in a sense, like, I didn't. So I heard that line, but I didn't think of it. So I was like, okay, cool. I was thinking of it like, you know what? This isn't okay. I liked this more than like Jake Hager being pulled through. I was like,
Yes!
the enforcer Jake Hager, like,
Yes! Way better than Jake Hager.
yeah. So I was like, I was okay with it, but I could see layers to it at least. Whereas Jake Hager felt like, look at him on a pillar. He's the biggest guy we have. Okay.
Literally, physically the biggest guy. That's all I got.
Yeah, we laughed at that moment. We were like, "Oh, that's not good."
I realized this too. Butcher and Blade look huge, and then at 500 pounds, I'm like, wait, neither of them are above 250? Because
No, one of them's like 300.
But I was like, wait.
Jim Ross brought that up. He was watching SmackDown. He goes, "Did you hear what they announced Jeff Hardy as?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "They said 225." That dude can't be $180, $190.
Yeah, he's
like, there's just no way. But they announced him at 225. And he goes, AEW needs to take a page out of that. He goes, they got to stop announcing their tag teams as a combined weight of 250 pounds. He's like, it just doesn't sound good.
Yeah, because I was
you don't go, oh, that's a threat.
Yeah, Butcher and Blade is like, they got to be like 5'5", 5'6"?
Yeah.
Because he looks like, the one guy, like, he looks scary as shit and rotund. I'm like, wait. Is he...
You got the penguin and the nutcracker.
Maybe
Let's go.
Maybe if I put on a beer gut rather than just a fat gut, I might look like him and that'd be okay.
Yeah. Got one of them firm bellies.
I need a thunder belly now.
Yeah.
Because I could be Butcher. But no, it was...
Dude, and when I met Clump as a fallback on the last story, I told him, I was like, dude, I'll be the Daniel Bryan to your Kane any day.
Aww.
Team hell no right here.
And I went to the bathroom and cried for 5 minutes because that was the best compliment I've ever got in my entire life. No, he's ruined that goodwill since then.
I went to the bathroom and shit myself for 45 minutes because I get paid to shit at work. That's correct. I'm a pro. Give me some ice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need more of this to happen. I'm really excited to see Brody Lee do this. I'm really nervous that Dark Order is just so bad that there's no getting out of this. So, Brody Lee, cheers to ya. Fucking hope you can pull
Social
this one
distancing
out.
cheers. Bang. Cool.
Cole Cabana is officially in AEW. He's been in there now 2 weeks. What do you think of Cole Cabana over there?
I was okay with it. Because I think...
happy. But I think he fits. So
No, I get you. I think he
definitely
fits, but I think the way what he did coming out and like kind of like knocking Kip Sapien, I thought was kind of cool because
I thought that was great, and the way he slapped him in the face, that looked fucking slap, dude.
Because I didn't like his ass in NWA, and I think a lot of times when he's in promotions, they make him like way too much of the silly guy. I was like,
but NWA was trying to make him serious for the first time in his whole fucking career, and I think he didn't know how to handle that. I think he didn't want to do that.
You gotta balance it. No, I don't think they were making him serious because I think he was coming out and being silly still. I'm like, yeah.
Which I didn't like, and I don't think NWA wanted.
Yeah. No, I was cool with how it was kind of in the middle, and I liked him like slapping.
I hate the Superman pin.
Everyone does.
Stand that pin.
Everyone does, and I don't either. But
okay, good. If you liked it, I was gonna be like, defend that shit.
As a comedy wrestling act, I can see it, but I don't like it.
Okay, but all right. Do you want to be Doink? Is that your big goal, Colt Cabana, to be Doink for the rest of your career? And
Do I have cocaine overdose? Probably.
And to be honest with you, I think Doink is a more serious wrestler than him. I think he's talking about trying to be the Goon. When you really break down, what is he trying to do with Boom Boom Colt Cabana? You want to be a comedy wrestler? It's because you're insecure about your ability to be a wrestler. The problem is enough of us have seen your actual wrestling to know you're better than that. You're the only one not confident in your wrestling, and that's embarrassing a little bit to us as fans. Because I watch it and I go, but I know you're better than this.
Because he is legitimately a good fucking athlete. He's legitimately a very good worker.
He's an amazing wrestler who won't allow himself to get to the next level because he's afraid of people, I don't know, maybe talking shit about his barely a belly. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the most cut guy in the whole fucking room. I get that. But you don't also have to be a comedian to be a good wrestler. And the thing is, the problem is we all know you're a really good wrestler.
I think it's also what's weird is I think in wrestling sometimes being as it's a land of extremes, you want him to either, if you're thinking funny wrestlers, you got to be Orange Cassidy or you got to be something way out there like Gentleman Gervais or something like that, way out there, it's weird for him to be in the middle because it's funny how good he is. Or you got to be Cheeseburger, who the reason you're good is
he
people.
He doesn't have to be that. He could be a fucking Kevin Owens for sure. He's got the chops to do it, but he won't do it because he's fucking insecure, and that's what gets me.
Yeah,
I mean, and I guess it goes back to the heart of why we're here. Stop being so insecure for being good at what you're good at or liking what you like. Fucking lean into it. I think if Colt Cabana leaned into his actual skill and talent, he'd be world champion. Anywhere.
I am happy to see him out and about more and like getting that spotlight instead of being the friend of CM Punk though.
Well, I'm afraid that he's not going to be much more than that. The way that he's booking himself, if you don't want people to be laughing at you at the end of all your matches, like what the fuck, man?
We'll see.
Like, I don't want to laugh at you at the end of your match or go, why the fuck are you? What the fuck is that pin? Right? But I really liked that Kip Sabian came over to talk shit.
Slaps him in the face and Kip Sabian leave. Yeah. It was a good slap.
He fucking slapped him. I was all like, fuck,
okay.
I don't know that they talked about this before. I was all like, shit, did Kip get out of line?
Yeah.
Like, did Kip get way out of fucking line? And then as he's walking away, I love that Colt just went, what, did you forget I'm a wrestler?
No.
What are you thinking? Like, oh, I loved it. Because I was like, there you go, dude. Do that. There's your comedy. Watch Kevin Owens if you want to see how to be a comedy wrestler and be fucking taken seriously.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Owens is hysterical. But no one doesn't think he has the ability to beat Seth Rollins on any given day. Sami Zayn, hysterical. Yeah. Intercontinental champion. Believably. You know what I mean?
As El Generico, ROH champion. Too much for you, champ? Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. One of your favorite guys in WWE, but when he was in the mask, no.
Oh, did you see the micro brawler? Do you mind grabbing that out of the box real quick?
It's an El Generico micro brawler.
Yeah, that's what came in the thing. I didn't get to show you the rest of the box, but we did do an unboxing. If you guys check out our YouTube, if you go to WrestlingOnTheRocks.com, you can click the little YouTube link and check out our unboxing. It was a joint unboxing of me and Kevlar. Boom! How good is that?
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Dude, from here, it looks like a middle finger.
What, you know what's upsetting me? So,
like from here, it looks exactly like a middle finger.
Sami Zayn is a very hairy dude, and you can see the picture. He's hairy as shit. They don't put that.
No fur here and no white around the red.
Because that's upsettingly hairy. That's my chest.
Yeah, that's
just like
a fur monster.
Yeah, that's the kind of fuzz that you get. Like if somebody like lays on you, they get shit in their teeth.
Yeah. That's like you're almost a Muppet.
And I'm not saying their mouth's on you. I'm just saying like it gets on things. I'm like a cat. I shed.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I've seen you lick your own crotch.
I wish I was that flexible.
So yes. So Colt Cabana, really excited for that in that regard, but also Colt Cabana versus Kip Sabian, not excited for necessarily. I want to see Colt get a little more serious. The problem is he's in a company that is going to tell him to lean into the bullshit. You know what I mean? But with that in mind, let's go ahead, unless there's something else here, Elite versus Inner Circle. So the whole time this whole show was saying, like, oh, it's going to be 5-on-4, 5-on-4, 5-on-4. Literally, in the opening segment, they said that. Oh, because one of the Jacksons out was 5-on-4. And I turned, I don't remember if she remembers it, but I said, oh, I guess this is where Matt Hardy's going to be introduced because it's going to be a 5-on-5. So they're not going to do that.
I don't like...
It was too obvious. All of this was obvious.
Well, I don't like... And I don't like it in WWE. It's not an AEW thing. I don't like it anywhere where it's somebody's out for an internal injury. Like, it sounds really bad when it's a gimmick thing. I never really like that. Just say the dude's... Like, I get it in a sense, but the amount of seriousness to it, I mean... I don't know. Like, you put it up as a serious thing and you kind of, like, develop a false worry. You just make the dude out. Like...
Yeah, but think back. Go back a few years before you were smart, which is not that many years.
Yeah.
That's a very minute number of years. Before you were smart enough to like the idea of the business. I was watching the Stone Cold Bret Hart thing like I mentioned earlier, and as I was watching, I was all like, I remember this match. And I remember this was a time when I 100% believed in all of it. I believed all of it was real. And I remember thinking like Bret Hart is the best. If you go back that far and think about how the injury angles work, okay, they work. Because if you allow yourself to disbelieve and you don't say, hey, you're kind of making a mockery of injuries, but go back. like as far back as you go, there's fake injuries. That's how territories work. You get an injury angle to get somebody in a different territory. You know what I mean? Jerry Lawler's got a broken leg. I wish it was real, actually. I shouldn't use that one. But Jim Ross had a broken leg Jimmy Hart had a broken leg for falsies. And just laid out for a while. Like, that's how they use their storyline. So, I think injuries are important. I think they should actually use more injury angles than they use.
This would give people time off.
Give people time off. Give people, like, put over the moves better. You know what I mean? Someone gets F5'd into a table. That's an injury angle.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
I think it's right now we have too much where we're going to do 20 F5s and an FU to make sure somebody passes.
What the fuck?
Did you like Cheez-Its?
Ooh, Cheez-Its.
Like a nutsack of Cheez-Its.
Yes. Cheez-Its sack.
Cheez-Its are... Have you ever put, like, Tapatio on Cheez-Its?
Oh, yeah. You see they made those, right? Like a pre-Tapatio Cheez-It.
You gotta have the sogginess.
Yeah, it's not as soggy, which is not as good.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're doing the injury angle with them, but I was like, oh, this is obvious. Matt Hardy's going to show up, which is fine. I'm also fine with obvious. And a lot of people go like, I don't like to be able to predict it. I don't mind if I predict it from time to time. This was way obvious. And they're cutting that super long promo at the end. Went on too long. Then you just hear and I was like, loudest fucking drone ever.
Yeah.
I mean, true to drones, as we know. Drones are loud as fuck.
It made me think of when
Yeah.
in the forum.
When it was right there, just flying around, you're all like, stop, and you're like holding down papers, like, I don't know what to do. He's the main manager. Like, so.
Typing notes. Ignore that.
But Matt Hardy shows up. Matt Hardy is part of the elite, apparently.
Favorite thing in the entire episode is Chris Jericho looking at him. He didn't look upset or scared. He kind of just looked like, fuck.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, Matt motherfucking Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I'm really excited to see Matt Hardy over here. I don't know what he's going to do that's going to be that impactful, to be honest. He's another WWE star we're milking off of. In fact, he's getting lost in the mix pretty quick. I really do.
I'm just excited to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Hardy also has said he wants to work in New Japan. I wish there wasn't as much bad blood between the Young Bucks and New Japan because I'd like to see them all work together again.
Matt Hardy versus both the Young Bucks?
No, everyone in New Japan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yay, TP Poker! You made it.
You came to mealtime. What's up, boss?
Yeah, we found snacks and we're barely through AEW and
These were in one of my rolls.
we got drunk early.
I just lifted it up and I pulled out 3 things.
It's been a mess, man.
Yeah.
Talk about podcast for like 40 minutes.
Good. Good.
Disaster. Well, every show is our first show.
Hey, you're coming in and it's not the end of it like last time.
Yeah.
Technically, this is the second show.
Yeah.
We're still on Wednesday, boss.
Yeah. Let's see. We're doing the best we can to kind of stay quarantined so we can do these shows and feel safe about it.
We're in a bunker. Also, we're 6 feet apart. I'm just really fat. You know when you watch Lord of the Rings and they made Elijah Wood look really, really small? I'm that fucking big.
Yeah.
And he's that small. You're really like Hornswoggle.
It's true. Was that Hornswoggle in the Archer thing?
I thought that was Wee Man.
Or was that Wee Man? I wasn't sure. Because the
it was like-
sunglasses in the hat, I was like, I can't see enough of his
Because
face.
Hornswoggle's kind of pudgy.
Mm.
Wee Man's like scary strong. I want it to be Wee Man. Have you ever seen the video of Wee Man like legit like firemen's carrying Shaq?
No,
Wee Man's strong as fuck. Like it's kind of scary.
What do you think of the... So apart from what we think can happen moving forward,
Whoa, what?
apart from moving forward, what do you think of the actual debut of Matt Hardy? And let's go ahead and take out the idea that, of course, this would be better with the audience. Of course. You would have had a huge pop.
That did upset me. That was the one thing that really upset me.
There was no pop. But
Same with Jeff Hardy.
and everyone would have pretended they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But they all knew. That's the dumbest part about that fan group. They go, "Oh my god, I had no idea." There you go. But
I was surprised as fuck.
were you?
I had smoked so much weed.
Oh yeah.
I had smoked like 5 bowls.
Well, by the time you saw the drone, you knew, right?
No, I was like, whoa! Small
Yeah.
flying helicopter. Again, I was really high. The strip club was censored, just so you know, TV.
Yeah. Can you stay 6 feet away from them at the strip club and still get the right experience? Let us know. That's the big question.
Hmm?
Oh, you know those poles aren't sanitized.
Oh yeah, you just Clorox the
You're
floor
not
real
touching
quick.
the pole. If you get that.
No, the dancers.
Yeah.
Mm.
You don't want any of them getting anything.
What they should do, and this would be a really cool dance, is put like a Clorox on here, just go up and down it to clean it.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be good.
Yeah. You can have like an Atlanta style strip club. You can pull them out of the girl. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been to a strip club in Atlanta. They're wild.
No.
They're amazing.
No, I have not.
You so fucking.
In all my time in Atlanta, I never found the time to go.
Atlanta strip clubs are crazier than the dungeon.
I wouldn't know.
It's a lie.
Never was able to find the time.
I don't know why, but the word poonhound is just flying through my head right now. It's my favorite word.
Moonham?
Poonhound.
That makes sense. I thought it was dragged out too long. I thought they could have cut like 45 seconds off.
Yeah, no, it was way long. I also didn't like they didn't have a mic because you could hear him going yes, and I was like, this would be way cooler if the fucker you could hear him saying it.
I think he was mic'd, and I think he was being quiet. Because I felt like you could hear enough of him to think he was just going, yeah. And I was all like,
You just see that from backstage. You motherfucker.
just talk out loud.
Legit, this is 90% why we fucking want you.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see what he does. The idea of him teaming with All Elite, or with the rest of the Elite, doesn't exactly excite me, but...
I saw that
Well,
coming
see-
because have you watched any of the Matt Hardy videos on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it seemed pretty obvious. I wish it was a little less obvious on this one, but here we are, and we'll see where it goes, and I hope he doesn't get lost in the mix. I really think there's a possibility he could.
I will say this too.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Hardy and Brody Lee both look fucking built. I was like, y'all put muscle on.
Oh yeah, Matt Hardy's arms look jacked.
Brody Lee was like, shit your neck.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they got huge. Last thing about AEW, unless you have something else you want to throw in there, they did announce that they will be canceling Blood and Guts until further notice. Which I thought was the right move.
Hmm?
They did not announce canceling the Lumberjack match, which I anticipate they will. Because you can't do a fucking Lumberjack match now. You can't.
Women's division lumberjack match.
I think even if you did that, it would look stupid.
Yeah, it didn't look stupid. It looked stupid the
It
first
looked
time.
horrible. So I think they can't. I did really like the camera work. I liked the way that it all came together. Overall, I would say AEW was a big win. Notwithstanding, I was a little nervous about some of the stuff they were doing. Anything else you want to throw in about them?
I think it was a really good show this week. I was happy. I'm glad that you liked it. I think everyone's taking this challenge in stride, and I think we're going at it different ways, and I like the way they did it. I do think maybe less people in the crowd, because I like the idea of having people around it reacting,
Yeah.
but you could show more distance and have less people. I think it was
I think
cool, though, having...
They could have done it smarter.
Like, I like having the play, essentially.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good look. SmackDown opened up with Rob Gronkowski. Came out with the strip club music, dancing like a floozy. It was amazing. Best you could hope for any debut. I wish Matt Hardy did the same thing. Right? course you agree. Of course you agree.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that show went up from there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You know what's funny though is that they tweeted out his entrance and Becky made a comment on it. Said, "Imagine having to do a ridiculous chance on your big debut,"
Mm-hmm.
which was really funny because that was her whole thing. Remember, she went to the Irish dance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw that, I was all like, "Okay, maybe I can forgive it." But until then, I was all like, "What the fuck, man?"
Well, both him and Mojo, because I get it. I understand. So essentially, has Mojo's character always been just Diet Rob Gronkowski?
You know what's weird is that he stopped doing all the hype stuff. He goes, "I'm not doing hype anymore. I'm not hyped anymore. I'm a fucking badass. I got Bull Buchanan face paint, all this shit."
And then, oh, Gronk? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Gronk's here? Fuck! Let's get hyped, bro!
Yeah.
Like, you know, back to Party Animal Mojo, which I guess is probably good because realistically, that seems to be closer to his real personality.
Yeah.
So maybe him and Gronk will do good stuff together. I don't know, but
It was. I really fucking hated it. I'm sorry. I can't try and think of it a positive way.
once they got into the ring and Gronk stopped doing that shit and they just were talking and they went back and forth with Corbin and did their shit, it wasn't trash.
Yeah,
It
Corbin
was
looked
okay.
great.
Corbin
Corbin looked
looked good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I liked Corbin acknowledging. I also done this shit too, and I was like, I like what you're saying because, yeah, Corbin was in the NFL. Corbin and Mojo played in the same team at the same time.
Yeah.
I like that. I just I did like the pushover part. I think it made sense for Corbin because he's a shit-eating heel. So yeah, push him over
makes
somebody's fucking friend.
Yeah, that made sense.
Mhm.
Like I said, once everyone was in the ring, it wasn't garbage. Until then, it was pretty fucking hard to get through. And then it wasn't like once they got in the ring, everything became great. It's just like, okay, this isn't trash, but let's hope it goes somewhere.
I hope like a host, a good WrestleMania host, he's out for 5 minutes and gone.
Most of the hosts are, right? That's it. They come out in the beginning and that's it.
Hulk Hogan, I think the last time Hulk Hogan hosted shit, he was gone in a minute. He literally walked out and said something brother and disappeared.
Him, Alexa showed up at least a few times in different dresses.
The New Day
Maybe
did
Gronk can wear different dresses. That'd be nice, right? Gronk
Okay.
can wear some different dresses.
If Gronk's in dresses, I'm cool with this.
Yeah, this could be good.
I as long as he's not like the New Day, because I liked when they hosted. They were out for like every other match, which is cool as fuck. But
Yeah.
no. He could do the Rock thing and just come out and light up a sign that says Gronk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
He could come out and tip over in a giant bottle of fucking Hypnotic.
That'd be so good. I'm not against it. I like Mojo and Gronk together in general, as a generality. We'll see how it goes. It could go. It could not get better, is what I'll say. I anticipate it should get better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I think it would be funny if Mojo was like called Gronk his brother, and then you just have Zack Ryder sitting in the front row, just like,
Yeah.
okay.
What do you think about the Daniel Bryan Gulak stuff?
I like it. I like Daniel Bryan and Gulak together.
Daniel Bryan's clearly on his way out, right? He's not signing another contract. That's what this means, doesn't it?
Possible.
There's I think on the Bella's podcast, I heard that he was saying how he just wants to spend time with his kids.
He wants to go to part-time. I mean, he's also done similar shit between contracts before. He's like Jericho. You know, Jericho is the master of this. Jericho did this.
It centered strip club?
Yeah, I did. I said that. When Jericho was between contracts, he had a meeting with Dixie Carter and had somebody take pictures of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you get a bigger thing. I could see Daniel Bryan being on his way out. I could see him going somewhere else, but I think he's probably going to just go to part-time. And I'm cool with that. I think he'd be
I don't think you let a Daniel Bryan go to AEW.
I don't think he would.
I think you do whatever it takes to make sure he's in at least a Legends contract.
Mm-hmm. I could see him going to New Japan.
I could see that. But I don't think at WWE would. I don't think you let him. I think if you're smart, you don't let him. Because I think that he's too valuable to any company he goes to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's too good of a dude. I do like the Drew Gulak, Daniel Bryan stuff though. I like them with Sami Zayn. It is kind of funny to see him being coached by Gulak. But I think it's a really cool way of getting Gulak over because I like Gulak.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. Gulak's bigger than Daniel Bryan, it turns out, which you don't notice till you see him side by side.
So Daniel Bryan should have been the 205 Live champion. I get that.
Hell yeah. So Gulak's gonna face Nakamura this week, and if Gulak wins, then Bryan gets his match against Sammy for the title at Mania. So it's clearly where they're going with it, which I think could be one of the greatest matches on the whole night. Yeah. Sammy versus Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental.
Mm-hmm.
And I say throw a weird gimmick on it, like some sort of like amateur wrestling mat type of gimmick, and make it something you can film cinematically. You know,
I think this is like why I like Triple H in his role, and why I like Triple H and what he's done, because Triple H has, I know in storyline and stuff like that, we've had the feud between Triple H and Steph, and we had we really didn't like when the Yes Movement was getting over. No. Triple H has been a huge advocate for Daniel Bryan. Triple H, if he didn't like you, wouldn't fucking work with you.
Yeah,
that's why he didn't work with CM Punk.
Who do you want to win?
For Sammy versus Daniel Bryan? I want it to be Sammy. I want this to be Sammy's big moment. Because I think this could be where Sammy gets over. This could be where they put over Sammy as, not only is he an incredible technical wrestler and amazing on the mic, but he beat Daniel Bryan, who's being coached by Drew Gulak, who we've seen are the two greatest wrestling minds in the world. You know what I mean? Like, this is where you could really put over Sami Zayn, and I'd like to see that, especially if Daniel Bryan's on his way out, and especially because you could always end up going to Sami Zayn versus Drew Gulak. And if you want to push Gulak after that, you could always give the title to Gulak after that. Gulak could always say, Daniel Bryan couldn't do what I was saying he needed to do. I could do it. You know what I mean? And you got other options there.
And Bryan can take the loss and still be okay.
Oh, yeah. Daniel Bryan could lose every match for the rest of his career, and everyone still say he's the greatest.
He did it with The Fiend. I mean, yeah, he lost to The Fiend, but goddamn, did he look fantastic in that match, and nobody thought he was a weaker wrestler for it.
Yeah, and think about Cesaro. Who thinks Cesaro is a bad wrestler? Who?
Yeah. No.
Who thinks? Who?
No one.
Who?
Same with Nakamura.
No one. And he's lost how many matches? How many Cesaro matches has he even won?
Everyone has a belt.
Yeah.
anytime it's Cesaro versus someone with a belt, Cesaro's gonna make you look fantastic tonight.
Was this Cesaro we saw an old match where he like picked up someone like 3 times his size?
He picked up the Big Show. He deadlifted the Big Show. Yes.
Yeah.
It was Big Show.
And I want to say he neutralized Braun Strowman a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite was the sequence with him, and it was the Bar versus the OC versus the New Day, where he went around the ring and just like went through literally everyone. And he gets back in the ring and then does the airplane spin like, fuck it, I can do this too. But he kicks Xavier Woods, jumps off the ring, like sits on Biggie, stomps Luke Gallows, goes back in the ring, kicks Carl Anderson, and then airplane spins him, and you're like, that's why I still think your ass should have a belt, but I know that you don't need one.
Yeah, no, he's incredible. And I think that Daniel Bryan's the same way. I'd like to see Sammy go over Daniel Bryan because I think that could make Sami Zayn. I think there's a lot of fucking talk about Sami Zayn, whether or not he deserves this or deserves that, or is he half the wrestler he was in NXT and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's all out there. And bottom line, I think Sami Zayn's as good as he ever was, and I'd like to see him go over on that.
I think if anything, he's shown more flexibility than ever before.
Oh, it's incredible. I like. There's no holes in Sami Zayn's game. He could do it.
His expressions always remind me of Andy Kaufman.
Oh, me too.
One other thing I think of it makes me think of when Jon Moxley had that lovely podcast with Jericho, and he went into how much he hated everything and how shitty he was. They put Sami Zayn in this weird ass at the same time role of being this super like social justice warrior, you know, all this stuff, and it was all, to me, it was like, this is all shit that the idea of the old man hates.
Yeah.
And it felt like this is something the old man's gonna love. And you know what? Sami Zayn bought that shit. Sami Zayn sold it. Sami Zayn invested in it so long and so hard that you fucking love it. And you know what? He's fine. It's like KO. It's like the New Day. So I have trouble with the idea of Jon Moxley being like, it's frustrating. I can get it, but you know what? If you buy into it long enough, they'll give you some flexibility to make it better, or you can own it. And you know what? Fuck it. I'll believe Pandemic Moxley. Imagine that now. Dean Ambrose coming out now. Well, I told you, fucks.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Dude, 100%. Like,
WWE branded N95 masks in the crowd.
Hell yeah, you could have had Moxley masks out there, you know, fucking Dean Ambrose masks. But I think that too many people buy into the bullshit. I don't believe for a second that as many people are as scripted as they say.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I don't think they... I mean, even some of the guys have talked about it, like Daniel Bryan and such, they'll always give them bullet points. That's what we want you to say. They'll even give you lines, but they'll say, but say it in your own voice. Say it how you want. And you can take those lines and say it as it is. Or you can go out there and be Daniel Bryan and say the same thing, but your way. And add a little bit to it. You know, a little je ne sais quoi.
A little zhuzh.
A little enjeu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, like with the New Day in their podcast, the way they talk about it, like they always go into like, yeah, we have a writer, we go with them, and like the process, they get a thing, and then they go meet up and figure it out.
Yeah, remember they were trying to go heel, and they're like, you can't get someone to boo Kofi, and Xavier Woods like, let me go out there and say what I want to say. If I can't get them to boo Kofi, fire me when I come back. And they're like, go on. You know, and he did it, and it's like, I think that guys like the New Day, I think guys like Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, Bray Wyatt, John Cena, Roman, I don't think any of these guys are scripted.
Mm-hmm.
I think they script the guys who aren't sure what to say.
Yeah.
And the guys who don't know how to trust themselves. You know what I mean? And that part I get to a degree.
Well, I feel like Roman's gotten better because I feel like for a period of time I could see that happening. I think what's happened is he's gotten more natural, and I think it's because I think there was a period of time, I will say, where I think they were scripting a lot more with people.
You know what I think the moment was for Roman? I think it was him working with Cena.
Okay.
I think him and Cena in the ring, and Cena just being like not going on the script, and Roman trying to stick to the script. You can watch it happen, and then Cena just says some shit. And you see this look on Roman's face, like, "Uh-oh, fuck you, dude." And Cena's just kind of like smirking at him, like, "Yeah, dude, fuck me. What are you gonna do about it?" And then you see this change in Roman. I don't think he's ever gone back after that. And I want to say that Cena pulled him. I'd like to believe Cena pulled him in the back and said, "You have to be you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Stop being them."
Yeah.
You know? Paige came out and started handing out fucking championship opportunities to everybody like it's fucking Halloween.
Hey, it could have been worse.
Actually,
you know what?
Bailey tweeted that and I thought it was hysterical. She tweeted out to, I think, Eva Marie. And said, "Hey, did you want a title shot too? Is Paige just handing them out like it's candy on Halloween?" And I was like, that's so fucking good.
Okay, Bailey, you're back. Tweet Emma.
Yeah, she was
hey, you want to come on back?
Yeah, hey, do you want to come back? They're just handing out title opportunities. There's a few people that Bailey's tweeted that was just kind of like, hey, they're just giving these away.
When they were doing that, and I was like, seeing them pull, like, are they going to do Sasha, or I fucking swear to God, they're going to be like, oh, and Nia's coming back, and it's going to, fuck.
So here's the big not Sam theory. You got Lacey, Dana, Tamina, Naomi, and Sasha, and Bailey in this match.
I think Dana is no longer in it, right? Is that rumor? Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
How's Tamina in it? Naomi's not, or Dana's not.
Sorry, never mind.
If there's a reference you have, then absolutely I'll look into it. But as of right now, what I see is Lacey, Dana, Tamina, Naomi, Sasha, and Bailey. The theory being that Dana's going to be taken out by Nia on the way out there, and Nia's going to bulldog her way in like she did the fucking Royal Rumble.
Men and women.
Yep.
Men's and women's.
Men's and women's. I'm excited for the match.
Yep, she's out.
What?
No,
Dana Brooke quarantined him in coronavirus.
And Rey Mysterio.
And Rey Mysterio.
What? Ray? No.
He just had a match less than 2 weeks ago against Andrade. Andrade needs to be out.
Cool.
Wow.
We haven't even got to Raw.
You don't want to.
Oh, shit.
That's gonna like literally mean basically everyone.
Doesn't mean everyone, you dumb fuck. It could mean everyone.
Yeah, unfortunately, you dumb fuck.
Have been pulled for the six-pack challenge for the SmackDown champion. They will now feature champion defending against Naomi, Tamina, Lacey, and Sasha. They've listed as 5. I think Nia steamrolls her way in. So yeah, Dana's been pulled. Dana has Corona. Thanks, producer, for giving Dana Corona on our show to make a point.
Oh my god. You were gonna talk about information that's old. I was trying to update you.
Sorry, I'm not up to date with Corona.
I
don't follow Corona on Twitter.
We appreciate nostalgia.
Yeah.
Before this fun ass.
It's not the times we live in.
I know, god damn it.
All right, I gotta follow Corona more closely. Apparently,
Yeah.
I did not know about Rey though, so that I was
Rey
behind
Mysterio. That's actually huge. The fact that it's Rey Mysterio, that's way bigger, if you ask me, because that's.
Does he keep the mask on in quarantine?
No.
Yeah, of course he does. He's got to keep a face mask on. Ooh, do you put a
That'd be
mask on
so
her mouth?
yeah.
This is not funny. Oh my god. Neither is that.
I shifted. Everything fell.
Oh my god.
Everything's falling.
Don't say that. Jeez.
You've also shifted. I'm kind of scared you're gonna.
Who knows?
He's falling.
Who knows what kind of poncho you should be wearing, Clump?
Marcia's falling and he can't shit up.
Yep. All right, so Dana's out, so fuck that. So, although we do have Lacey, Tamina, Naomi, Sasha, Bailey, I think it's gonna be a really cool match. I think it could be. Out of Lacey, Tamina, Naomi, Sasha, Bailey, and let's say Nia comes in. Who do you want to win it?
Who do I want to win it?
Yeah.
Naomi. Who do I think's gonna win it? Fucking Nia. I think they want to bring, because they've never stopped pushing her as that giant powerhouse. I could see her doing it.
But she was kicked out of the 33 match because there was the four there. It was Bailey, Charlotte, Sasha, and Nia for the title, and Bailey won. I mean, you had Nia win against Alexa 1-on-1, but barely, which was insanity. I don't think you have to give Nia the win to have her move forward. They didn't give Nia and Tamina the win at the tag titles.
To be fair, they're both bad, but Tamina's a kind of
Like, she's a saver bad.
Nia's a wreck on a highway.
Yeah.
Tamina's like somebody driving through a parking lot hitting a pole.
For sure.
An empty parking lot.
Why do you want Naomi to win it?
Because I like Naomi a lot. I think Naomi. What?
I like Naomi too.
Yeah, I think Naomi. I'm not gonna say she needs it, but I think she would be the person I think most would be deserving of it. Lacey looks good. Lacey looks.
She's had the belt though. I mean,
Yeah, Naomi's had it
There's nothing
before.
wrong with that.
And she's won it at Mania before,
and
too.
recently in an article I read, interview with her, she said she's not as focused on belts right now. She is a great story. She wants to be in a great story before she heads out because she knows she doesn't have a long time left. She thinks she has maybe a couple years, but she does want to have children. So
That's true.
Huh?
No, she wants to have kids.
Oh.
Now, if you ask me, this is going to be probably not. I mean, maybe it's. I don't know. I don't know what people think. So maybe it's popular, maybe it's not. But I think it's probably not. I think the person who needs it the most is Sasha. I think Sasha's character is huge, but has never retained a title. I think you have Sasha get the win over like a Lacey,
and then break it up, and then Bailey. But do you want Bailey to come back as a face again, or do you want Sasha to become a face and Bailey to be a heel? Because I like Bailey as a heel.
yeah.
Bailey's already hinted at being a face. Did you watch SmackDown?
God damn it,
So-
Bailey! Sorry.
Sasha was doing this shit, and they're like, "Oh, and Sasha are gonna be in it." And Sasha's all like,
Yeah.
I'm not good with Sasha faces.
She thought about it.
But then Bailey's walking away holding her title. She looks at it. She looks over at Sasha. She looks back down and she just scurries away. That's not a heel thing to do, to be like...
She was looking
Scurrying
at
is very much a heel thing to do. Have you
You
not
think?
watched Ric Flair hold titles?
He didn't hug and kiss the title. You think he did?
Yeah, and he scurried. He scurried a lot. Arn enforced shit, and he scurried away.
Alright.
I'm describing. Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like it was a turn of like
Seth
Sasha-
Rollins in that match where he lost by disqualification, and then
But he grabbed it and ran.
yeah, he scurried. Running is scurrying. Like a frantic fucking animal.
So do you think that she was looking more heelish or
Yeah,
vicious?
he looked
I thought she looked more like she was. Well, I mean, I guess every good heel's got to look at odds.
Yeah.
She's got to look like they're about to lose it.
Yeah. She looks
I
more
thought
like a
that Bayley
scared,
would
conniving heel. Sasha looks like, oh shit, I'm gonna get this heel.
Sasha to me looked more like, oh yeah, I
Opportunity.
can win because I can do whatever it takes. And Bailey looked more like,
Oh fuck.
yeah, fuck, I could lose this because I don't know if I'm as good as everyone else.
Mhm.
Which I guess is a heel thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you have Bailey go face, but a different kind of face.
So Adam Cole, we're going to do this differently. Adam Cole's, they're like, hey, we're going to put you in a match with Velveteen Dream, Walter, Pete Dunne, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and Keith Lee for your title. And Adam Cole's like, oh, fuck. And he bails. Do you think Adam Cole still is now a face? Do you get what I mean? Yeah. Let's switch that. So instead of Keith Lee, we have Roderick Strong. You see Roderick Strong going like, yeah, no. Adam, they both are just heels. It's just like an opportunity heel. And heels are all about opportunity too. Very rarely is a heel this powerhouse that wins. It's always why it's weird. That's why it's weird when like
I thought Sasha would turn on Bailey.
Yeah, I could see that still.
But that would make Sasha the heel. Because turning on someone, you would think. I mean, although I'll say there's grade lines to heel and face, but
I could see Bailey turning face in it
and still being a smartass.
Yeah,
because that's the other thing is everyone says that she's still getting her footing as a heel. I don't think she is.
No, she's great as.
I think she's solidly locked down what her character is like, which is kind of a smartass, but still someone who, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that she's got face tendencies.
I think,
but she's got a heel heart kind of a deal, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's heel tendencies with a face heart.
Yeah, I think she could become kind of like, she could be the face and be like a weirdly going back to hugging, but still being like a badass.
Yeah,
it's an interesting turn. I think it's more interesting and compelling to me than her maintaining.
And I think if Sasha wins here, Sasha for one gets her win at Mania with the title. Bailey's had one, Charlotte's had one, Becky's had one. So you can have Sasha go ahead and have her win in the Mania for a title, which would be nice.
Tamina hasn't had one.
Yeah, you're right. But then you could actually lead into, if Bailey doesn't lose that match, you're going to lead into Bailey Sasha moving forward into Survivor Series or SummerSlam. And which I think could be a huge match. No. And lead into a whole... I mean, I think everyone's been dying for Sasha versus Bailey since NXT. So I think you can lead into a series of matches that get you to next Mania, Sasha Bailey for a title.
And I think it could be cool too because the next pay-per-view where they do a proper pay-per-view in a stadium when this is all over, I think
we're not all zombies.
Yeah, I think maybe something that they might want to try and build is, we know that WrestleMania is going to be weird. Let's try and build stuff so that after, when we can, god damn, let's make it a blow off. Let's make it a celebration. Like,
that's true too.
Yeah, that would.
How do you build moving forward if you think like, hey, we don't know if it's gonna be empty or not, but we assume that it's not. We have to build for the next biggest fucking thing. Let me see. You had Roman and Goldberg do their promo in the ring. I thought that Goldberg did an awesome job, or not Goldberg. Roman did an awesome job talking shit to Goldberg.
Yeah.
Otis and his shit with Miz and Morrison.
Do you think this is going to be what happened? Like, do you think this is going to be like Sam's theory, where this is the only way Roman can get that title and get a face pop?
Yeah,
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I think this is where Roman takes it, but I think that Brock wins it.
The unfortunate thing I think that could make this better though is Goldberg needs to be more of a heel. A face-face match is kind of weird, and I think it would. In some cases, it can work. I can see that working. I don't know if it can work here.
I think the only reason you don't think Goldberg's a bigger heel is because I think that they don't have a crowd. I think if he was in front of a crowd right now, they'd be booing the shit out of him.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think they like him having the title.
Yeah.
I thought Sammy did amazing on commentary.
Otis's thing I thought was cool but weird. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird to see where this is going and that they're still doing it because it was a big crowd story.
Yeah.
It's cool that they're still doing it, but I don't know. It's not landing with me because I don't have the crowd there.
Yeah. Exactly. You want to hear the crowd behind Otis. I like that they played WrestleMania 30, Bray and Cena, because Bray specifically called it out as you fucking ruined my career at that point. So that was cool that they were using that.
Yeah.
I think it was the only replay they had on that one too. So.
Yeah. No, I think it was good. That was a good replay. I think having a replay where it's not I like the Elimination Chamber because it built story. That one built story. I get the Royal Rumble for last week. I know it helped with the Drew McIntyre stuff.
Well, because Drew hasn't showed up for 3 fucking weeks, so let's get into Raw.
Yeah.
Oh wait, unless you're about to say something about the Bray thing.
No. I liked it though. I think this was I think that was a good way of doing that.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And someone else was saying like, "Oh, look it's the Exalted one on WWE. Oh, Luke Harper is the first ever to be on both in a week." Untrue. Chuck Taylor was in the Johnny Gargano playback from Best Friends.
Yeah, Chuck T.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. But
I would have loved if he responded, because Chuck Taylor on Twitter is pretty great. I like his feud with Adam Page about West Virginia.
Let's see. On Raw, they announced Alistair and Lashley in a match, and Street Profits versus Andrade and Garza in a match for Mania. Why? Why are you so excited, Clump, for these matches? Why do you love this to happen?
I want to cry.
Why are you more excited about this than perhaps, say, Nikki and Alexa versus the Kabuki Warriors?
Yeah, I know.
I just didn't understand why you'd throw in 2 matches completely unannounced with no backstory whatsoever. One of them with a title on the line, and expect me to give a fuck.
I feel like, so in a sense, I know that this has having to happen because it's a weird time, but I also feel like we've been lazy as shit with this WrestleMania. Because a lot of WrestleMania stories should be built from a long time out.
That's true.
And that's a lazy ass story. Be like, yeah, well, let's do Aleister Black versus Lashley.
Why?
How about have Aleister Black versus Velveteen Dream again? How about have Aleister Black versus Bobby Roode? How about
you've already split it up between 2 days because you know that you can't get that many people.
Actually, it's Aleister Black versus Bobby Roode, not Bobby Lashley.
No, it's Bobby Lashley.
No, it's Bobby Roode.
It's not.
Really?
Yes.
Oh god, that makes
sense. There's a picture of Lana in the back.
God,
and then be better. And the whole fucking thing is you've already got a bloated WrestleMania, so you split it into 2 days. Don't add shit we don't want to see. Yeah. It's gonna be hard enough to get people to sit through 4 to 5 hours of empty arena matches. Fucking just don't add dumb shit.
Well, and you're not doing NXT as part of it. I thought NXT was gonna be day 1 of WrestleMania. I was like, that's cool as fuck, and mix it around. But no, if that's not what's happening, I'm kind of done.
Who's Spence?
Hey, Spence.
Spence. Oh.
Yo. What up, Bo?
Yeah, I don't know what the. Am I missing a thing? Is that all? That's all comment.
Nah, yeah, it felt weird. It really feels like, so even before all this shit went south, it was very much like they weren't promoting a lot of the matches for WrestleMania. They were promoting 3 or 4, but this is always going to be a 5-hour event, so what are you doing? You know? This definitely threw a monkey wrench in it, made it weird, but
I think having a shorter Mania, if you're going to do half days and all, I think doing it shorter could be in your benefit. So you can make more time to
2 tight 90-minute shows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going to do 90 or 2 or 3 or whatever, but I don't think you do 8. You know what I mean? I don't think you do an 8-hour show. I don't think you do 2 8-hour shows. I think you cut it down to like 2 3-hour shows or some shit.
Oh shit! I thought of something that could be terrible.
No.
So you mentioned Nia steamrolling her way into that match. So day 1, you have Charlotte beat or lose to Rhea Ripley or something like that, and then bulldoze your fucking way into the SmackDown match.
Oh, whoever wins that one or loses it. Or do you think like Charlotte loses NXT and then goes towards SmackDown?
And just bulldozes her way into that match.
Ugh, that could be gross.
And then Charlotte wins.
Ugh.
Okay, I might want Nia to win in that case.
I'm not at all, even remotely, even kind of interested in Street Profits versus Andrade and Garza.
Yeah,
I couldn't. I have no intent to watch that match.
Them on commentary sucked.
It was fucking garbage, wasn't it?
We had to mute it.
Yeah.
I had to turn the volume off entirely. I couldn't get through it. Like, there's too much of it. I just couldn't do it.
So while I was watching all the wrestling today, what I was also doing was playing video games, and you know, it was cool because I was listening to it and like kind of looking down and stuff like that. I was like,
they wanted to be the life of the show. They wanted to be the focus.
They were pulling away from the match. Mm-hmm. They're making it hard to pay attention and stuff, and not in a good way.
The commentators are the orchestral director of the show in front of you.
Yeah,
your orchestral director has a fucking giant goddamn hammer.
Yeah, he's just playing his own instrument.
Yeah, no, it was.
He just pulls out an electric guitar and he goes.
Start doing a solo.
And great. What? Let's see. That one has potential to be a good wrestling match, but this isn't AEW, so I mean, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think it could be a good wrestling match if I gave a shit about either team. And to be honest with you, I'm not into Street Profits. I think that they're too overly done. If you've ever been to a party where someone comes in and says like, "Hey, I'm the funniest guy you're gonna meet all night," you know right away that guy's a piece of shit, and they're not the funniest person they're gonna be all night. These are a couple of try too hards and too involved in themselves. I'm just not into watching them.
I think WWE's killed them. And I mean, like,
I think they killed them.
Well,
I think WWE thought they were great and gave them the
yeah,
rings.
that's what I mean. Is like they went so over with it. I'm cool. I'm cool when they come out and it's every now and then, and they have the cups and stuff, and that's awesome. And if they did a promo every like 3 weeks, I'm okay with it. But literally, they're on more than so many other people. I'm like, this is bad. And they went from like, oh, and they're doing it because it's over, but it's so much, it's just killing it to people who are kind of in the middle. Like, I was in the middle. You guys didn't like it right away, but it's made me like, okay, I'm fucking done with this bullshit. Like, I wanted to like Angelo Dawkins, and I initially did. I'm so fucking done with it right now.
Yeah, I can't stand either one of them. Andrade and Garza as a team, I like the idea of it, but I don't think there's any build for me to give a shit. I have absolutely no intention of watching this match. I have every intention when this match comes on to turn off the TV and do something else.
Take a 20-minute shit.
Yeah, I'll take a long shit. I'll probably cry for a while. Dawkins elite. Well, yeah, he looks like the most gassy. Watch the match, and don't tell me that every time he does something, he's not squeezing out a little bit of a fart. Every time a guy moves a little bit, you just hear like a little.
Dawkins is my most likely to fire his muffler on the match.
He goes in for a pan with like his legs out. And just...
One wasn't it also Dawkins that there was one match like did he shit himself because it was like they had like these velour like singlets and he was sweating in the ass area. I think he shit.
He may have shit himself. There's no way. The guy is clearly the most gassy in the match.
Yeah. Dusty says keep your muffler in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was a bad idea to throw that match in there. I would have rather they'd thrown in a women's tag team title match. It would have made more sense. I think less Street Profits the better. I don't give a shit. Let's see. I didn't like so much I thought Cedric and Ricochet as a tag team was really intriguing.
Yeah, that'd been cool. That was cool. I liked them. It was kind of like in the middle. Like it was. They were good at just the matches. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, the match itself was okay, but I think them as a team could be something to move forward to. Yeah. That could be something to pay attention.
Who are they against again?
Garza and Andrade.
Oh, right, because
yeah,
I fucking thought Dawkins and them were on the match because they were so much.
No, they were just distracting from that match.
Yeah, they're distracting from the match, and they had their own match, and I thought this is way too much fucking TV time for the Street Profits.
Yeah.
I literally muted it and filmed my own unboxing.
I never said this, but I kind of thought that this whole, limited contact, this was the best thing to not see. The only benefit was that I didn't see Street Profits.
Yeah, they'd be gone. They wouldn't be able to do this.
So sure. I was like, well, this sucks, but here's a positive.
Yeah, at least I don't have to deal with them. And then it's like, here's an hour of them. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler. What did you think of her promo?
I thought it was good. I'm still not a huge fan of.
People did not like it.
She had a weird wrestler voice, didn't she?
Yeah, I'm still not a fan of her with her weird blood fetish thing.
I didn't mind that. I didn't mind the destroy thing. I didn't even mind the words she was saying, the way she was saying it.
Yeah.
She had everything in wrestler voice. It was all of a sudden like, oh, I'm Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck just happened?
She sounded like
100 promos.
She sounded like she was sick.
Yeah.
I thought that she forgot her lines. It kept, to me, looking like she forgot her lines, was thinking about it, and that, I forget who it was she was speaking to, Charlie, was it?
Charlie, yeah. And Charlie was all like,
yeah, I felt like Charlie was trying to just react and,
get her back
give her some time, because to me it looked like she needed time to remember lines.
Yeah.
Unless they really told them, hey, milk this for 10 minutes or whatever it was.
It was very long.
I felt bad for her.
I feel like she wore Chris Jericho's jacket better than Chris Jericho, though. Spike jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
But no, it wasn't, I didn't think it was bad, but I'm also not a huge fan of Shayna in this role, so I'm like, okay, like, I've not really paid as much attention, because I liked Shayna when Shayna was just the unbeatable badass, like, I'm gonna fuck you up, rather than I'm gonna destroy you. I'm going to bite you. I'm like, okay, cool.
She doesn't need many lines, is the thing.
She doesn't. Yeah, and this gimmick, I feel like it's
Like,
She also, I've seen her cut a bunch of promos before, and she didn't sound like this. Her weird Batman voice. This was Christian Bale Batman voice to me.
yeah, no.
Stop. Fucking stop. That was the only problem I had. The way she was talking, I was like, stop. Someone fucking destroy her. Stop her.
I like,
And then Becky comes out of the fucking shadows and hits her with a chair, and I was like, thank you!
which is weird as fuck too. I didn't let that part. Okay, whatever. Like I was kind of like, I liked her as like, I miss cocky badass to Bianca Belair. You ain't gonna do shit. Or
okay.
like when
Shayna?
yeah, when Shayna would like
mean-
in NXT, like when she was a cocky badass, didn't say much. Like
You missed
yeah.
when Shayna had cock? Social distancing 5.
Somebody got hugged at work one day.
Really?
It was so funny. Like the customer was
By
really,
a customer?
they were really, really happy, and they instantly hugged him, and ever just kind of paused and looked at the customer. Oh fuck!
There's all the rumbling, and all of a sudden it happens, and it's just like,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Get the hose!
yeah.
Going back, we gotta pull up your all for your boss. Yeah.
It's like fucking Chris Farley. I'm a maniac. Maniac.
Let's see. I think Shayna is actually Heyman's fault this time. I can see Heyman trying to make Shayna another Taz-like character. I would like Shayna more as a Taz-like character. Taz was what Shayna was in NXT.
I didn't get that. Let me see. Keep talking.
This is more like the Brood. Like, to me, this is more like Gangrel. Like,
I mean, it's very Brock and Taz mixed, but I don't even have a problem with Shayna's character. Like, I'm okay with how she's being presented. I don't even give a shit about that weird bite the neck bullshit.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. That's intense, crazy, something we've never seen. Her voice, her doing the Christian Bale Batman voice, I was not okay with. I think that her being portrayed as a goddamn killer, it's not bad. And I think if Becky overcomes, then Becky looks like, well, what the fuck does it take to take out Becky? And to be honest, I think that's where you go. Because I think after that you have, well, obviously Shayna can take out Becky. She's a fucking murderer. You have Shayna as a vampire. Of course she can kill Becky. You know, Becky has a shot, yeah, because Becky's a badass. But Shayna clearly could do it. I think you take out Shayna and then you have a storyline of who the fuck can take out Becky. She's unstoppable. And that's when you really put someone over and you make someone the next big star.
Naya.
I don't know who you go from there, to be honest, though. Maybe
That's the one thing
Maybe
is-
you can push into a Liv or a Ruby into, yeah, you guys have been fucking around, but here I am. Total Shayna mark, but I agree. I think Becky going over is the right move for exactly what you're saying. Yeah, because I also think that doesn't mean it stops Shayna. I think that infuriates Shayna. She loses to Becky at Mania, and then it's fuck you, bitch.
Yeah.
And then it's Shayna becomes I will not stop till I destroy you. Oh, I think you can do more cool stuff with it. And I think if you have Shayna win right now, it's just, well, yeah, obviously Shayna could have won. And then it's like, oh, yeah, obviously she's the champion. Oh, yeah, obviously she's going to. I mean, think about her in NXT. There was definitely a while there where it's all like, oh, Shayna versus Belair? Yeah, Shayna's going to win, but I'll watch the match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every match was like, well, yeah, I mean, Shayna's going to win, but I'll watch the match.
I think if Shayna had won the Rumble, I would have been really cool seeing Shayna win it.
Yeah.
Like,
And then it's like, here,
fucking Charlotte.
it fuels Shayna and gives her a reason to build her the right way, which I agree with. Right now, she's billed as a badass because ipso facto Shayna badass.
Yeah.
This gives a fucking fire to her that's all like, no, Shayna's on a fucking tear because she came here to destroy Becky Lynch and she couldn't fucking do it. You know, I think that I mean,
yeah,
I think it's interesting to do it that way. It's not the only way to do it, but to me. And I agree. I think at some point Shayna does become champion, but I'd like Ruby Riott to get it somewhere along the way too.
yeah. No, I'd like to see. I don't know. I'd like to see Ruby Riott. I'd like to see, Mandy Rose.
Right now she's Hogan's heel of the week. Oh, because just Hogan, another Hogan monster to take down, and not her own established character that we care about. So she's saying she's just another fucking big boss man.
Well, the only reason I get The only thing that I'm getting worried about with Becky is the amount of times they've done this. Is like, at what point is it going to be like
too much?
Like, when does it become
still chance?
Yeah. Well, when does it become like Braun? Like, that was a big thing with Braun. Is Braun was like, it's funny to watch Braun lose shit now. And it's like, wait, you were the fucking dude who flipped a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets weird, you know. Like, then you have to, like, I always like lose myself a little bit in Braun matches because I'm like, wait, how is he losing? Because he flipped a fucking semi. Wait, how is he losing in this case? He flipped the possibly hot heavy announcer table onto Brock.
But that's just it, is the way that Becky's doing it. Becky's doing it right. She doesn't win against all these people in an Aleister Black-like fashion. She wins in these drawn-out matches where she gets over on them.
She's the best bout machine kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of you because I can go the distance.
Yeah.
Where you have like the Goldbergs and the Braun Strowmans, where I'm not afraid of you because I can flip a truck. Because I don't go in for fights to lose right away. You know what I mean?
I'm not afraid of you unless you're a door.
Yeah, unless you're a door. Where with Becky, it's I can go the distance. I will outmatch you. I will not go down. I will not quit, and I will not stop punching the fucking air if that's what it takes to win.
Yeah. That's
why Becky's character works, I think, the way that it does. So it's another version of the Stone Cold character of I'm just a bad motherfucker, ass whooping machine, rattlesnake you can't trust, who's gonna stomp a mud hole in your ass if it takes me all goddamn night. I don't care if I'm paralyzed in the process. I'm gonna get up and roll you up, motherfucker. Like, that's the idea. So I think that Becky's character has longevity because of that, and Shayna's character needs a change to not become something less than that.
Yeah.
Because I think Shayna deserves a similar like character, to be honest. Shayna's great.
Shayna is a badass.
Yeah, and I think you book Shayna the right way. I think that this could be the time, though. I mean, it sucks without a crowd, but I've been saying it for a while. I think this is the time where you bring Ronda back, and Ronda costs someone the match. I don't know who Ronda cost the match. I don't. I can't piece together mine. Is it better that Ronda costs Becky the match, or that Ronda costs Shayna the match? Because does Ronda not want to be the one?
I was thinking that. Yeah, it'd be cool to throw her back in, but she's not going to leave her compound.
Her compound's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But do you have Ronda come back and stop Shayna from winning because you're not going to be the one to bet Becky? I am.
Yes.
I'm going to be the one to take down Becky. You're not better than me. Then you have a Shayna Ronda back and forth before Ronda gets her shot at Becky, right? Or do you have Ronda come in and help Shayna win and just to fuck you, Becky? Just fuck you.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Ooh, have Charlotte come and fuck up the match.
Ugh, fucking Charlotte. Makes the most sense.
The unfortunate thing is we can, with the amount of the ways they book Charlotte, I can never not see a moment that Charlotte's not going to come in and fuck it up. Charlotte's like Brock, but shitty.
Yeah. Let's see. Spen says if Ronda goes heel, then perhaps that gives a more natural path to the 4 Horsewomen stable, since the other 3 are already heel. And that's 100% what I agree with and think. If Ronda goes heel, and even if you have the 4 Horsewomen of NXT, right? You've got Sasha and Bayley already on a team. You've got Charlotte, who's already a heel. It wouldn't take much to convince her. But then if you have Becky, who thinks she needs to rely on her friends of old to get into this whole thing, then it could make sense. And if Ronda goes heel, then yeah, she can team up with Shayna and her other friends. Yes, we're all evil now. And then you can almost have 2... You could have a true heel faction of the 4 Horsewomen of MMA, and then a pseudo heel where do whatever it takes to win NXT 4 Horsewomen.
I thought the thing that was hard with Ronda that was being a heel. When Ronda started getting boos, I think it seemed like she really struggled with that.
Yeah, she did struggle with that.
Yeah. So I don't know if she could do that yet. Like,
that's true.
It's hard to be booed. It's hard to be the bad guy.
It can be hard to be the bad guy, but if she's got 3 of her friends being booed with her, maybe it'd be easier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's interesting to see where this one goes. Do you think they put a gimmick on the match? Because I think they've got to eventually. I want to see Becky challenge Shayna to an empty arena match.
I want somebody to say that.
It's so good.
And they do it in a different fucking arena. Like, they do it at Buck Stadium. Like,
yeah.
Really? Really?
I think it'd be great because they even did the whole like last man standing with Orton, and he was like, "I'll do your last man standing." I was like, "Please say if you make it an empty arena match, please call this an empty arena match."
TCC's open.
Yeah,
I would love if we only do empty arena matches in Tucson Convention Center.
Yeah, that's really all happened. Let's see. Alistair had a squash. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. What do you think about the promos? Seth, that might be one of the best Seth promo in a fucking decade. That was good.
I was cool with it. What happened to AOP?
I read somewhere that one of AOP is injured, but I also don't know if I believe that. So
No.
Here nor there, so far as I say. Supposedly one may be injured.
Yeah.
But I thought Seth Rollins did fucking incredible on that promo. It was so good. Him doing the walk around. I think all the promos since they went to empty arenas have been better than any promo they could have cut with an arena. I think the fans shit on too much. I think they fuck up too many of the fucking promos. I think all them screaming what whenever they want ruins the dramatic pause of what would otherwise a great promo. And I think here are the real performers allowed to truly perform.
It goes from like a thing in front of a promo to a play, and I kind of like this. I also think because of where they've stepped their shit up because they've had to. A mediocre Raw or SmackDown would suck during this.
Yeah, and last Raw was not great. You know,
that was a slog of a match. And that was, I was going to say, it's like, I liked the Cena Fiend or Cena Bray match that they put on SmackDown. I liked the Cena Brock Seth match that they put on Raw this week. I fucking hated the hour and 20 minute or whatever long
of the Rumble.
And that might be just because I've seen the Rumble like 30 times at this point.
Yeah, no, and I also appreciate that too, and I can agree to that. I didn't like it, but I appreciated that they did it. Because there are people who didn't see it. But for me, I was like, fuck, I've seen this so many times.
If I was 10 when my parents wouldn't let me buy pay-per-view and we only had basic cable, fucking would have loved it. But
awesome. But my standalone bubble hated it.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. They announced a Boneyard match for AJ versus Undertaker.
I like American Badass Undertaker taking me back. I didn't think I'd miss him that much, but I did. But and it's partly because the first Undertaker I liked and got into was him, but I got tired of him.
Yeah.
So I'm cool seeing him come back in this way because I think this might be the finale of him. Maybe this is
this could be it.
Yeah, maybe this is the retirement because I've always thought maybe the best way to retire Undertaker is not to have it be the dead man, but to be Mark Calloway.
Yeah, I could see that because then you put a finality to Mark Calloway, not the character of Undertaker.
Then again, I also my fantasy booking, like you've done your KO Triple H thing. Yeah. My dream booking for Undertaker's retirement was him losing to the Fiend, which I think could still happen, but it's him.
I think it could, yeah.
Him losing to the Fiend, where the Fiend beats him in multiple matches. He's gonna have to have multiple matches.
Yeah, really put him down.
And at the very end, it's like the dead man's not gonna fight you. Mark's gonna fight you. I'm here to kick your ass, and then have him lose that way. And at the very end, as he loses, it be this pause, and you could even have it be a thing where, you know, there might even I think Undertaker wouldn't do a handshake or anything like that because Undertaker or Mark Calloway is an old school guy, but I could see it be like
I could see him do something.
Yeah, I could see it even be a thing where Bray and him kind of break for a second and be like Bray even acknowledges you're the one person I've never beat. You know?
Yeah. No, keep talking. Keep talking.
Oh no.
Keep talking.
So. God damn it.
Keep
talking. But yeah, no, I think old school Undertaker coming, or American Badass Undertaker is coming back myself. This is a one-man show. This is incredibly awkward right now. Howdy. Tell us what you guys think. Do you like American Badass Undertaker being back? This is Fresh Air with Eric Klump. Let's see what's next. Sweet. Yes, Undertaker needs to come down to the ring with one of his new Tiger friends. I was thinking that, or he needs to come out in like on Triple H's big stupid ass chopper. Like that is honestly one of the things I'm kind of excited for is Triple H or Undertaker on a motorcycle again. Let's see. So then we had Charlotte Flair was interviewed backstage. I'm really tired of Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is my least favorite performer in WWE. I'm gonna switch with you. Have fun being by yourself, boss.
Did you say what you thought a Boneyard match would be?
Oh, Boneyard match. I think will be. I think I want it to be a junkyard.
Junkyard,
Yeah.
kind of graveyard. Like, let's see, Undertaker needs to come down riding one of his new Tiger friends. I don't disagree with that. I think he's got a lot of new Tiger friends. Let's see. I think Boneyard match means like graveyard match. I think we're going to see something very similar to a Buried Alive graveyard match kind of style. I wonder though, because what I thought was really interesting is all of the commentators, well, not all of it was Byron and Tom Phillips. They both continuously said, "What does that even mean? What's a Boneyard match mean?" He's like, "He's challenging a Boneyard match, but I don't know what that is." Like, they didn't definitively give it rules or say what it meant. So I think that there's a good possibility we could end up with some kind of mix. Buried Alive meets Graveyard. I was thinking like Sting and Psychosis and Halloween Havoc. I want to say 98, 99, something around there. But I'm not sure. I'm excited for it. I like the idea of AJ and Undertaker in a more dramatic setting. And like I was saying before, I think you take full advantage. And ironically, because next year is supposed to be the Hollywood WrestleMania, I think this is your chance to go cinematic WrestleMania, you know? Love the way that Chuck E. T did it on Dynamite. Let's take this outside. What do you mean? Like, so do you think that... So wait, so did Chuck E. T challenge them to a street fight? Was that the idea there? Let's take it outside to a street fight kind of a deal? Because I'm okay with that too. I thought initially that we might see a street fight AJ and Undertaker because it was American Badass against the Club. And I thought we might see someone like Undertaker get the help of some old disciples, as it were. Maybe you'd see a return of a Kane or a Minion or something like that.
How we implement social distancing, we each just tag out to pee.
Yeah, well, we got to keep the show going, man. Let's see. Street fight was like, let's do it in the parking lot. That's cool. Who did Chuck E. T challenge for a street fight?
The challenge Lucha Bros.
The Lucha Bros.
Well, it's so funny. He challenges them, and they're like, they go to Trent.
I need ice.
Trent, are you okay? And he just got kicked in the dick. He's like, no.
Oh yeah.
Like, no.
No, I got kicked in the dick.
Yeah, they're gonna do a parking lot brawl.
So yeah, I think that's cool. I think now's the time to do some of these gimmick matches that people haven't seen in a long time. Do them in interesting ways. Do them in cinematic ways. Get us interested in watching wrestling in a different way. I mean, once it all comes back, we're gonna all say, "Oh, this is refreshing." But until it's back, let's really lean into the idea of like, "Hey, we have time to pre-tape, do multiple angles, redo, use stunt doubles if we want." Like, I know people think that might be shitty to use stunt doubles, but why the fuck not? Throw a motherfucker off a building and into a fucking pile of fire. Like, let's go all in. Let's do this WrestleMania different than any WrestleMania. For one, because we fucking have to. And two, because, fuck, we could go fucking berserk with this shit. Vince McMahon's been saying for years he makes movies. Let's make some fucking movies.
Undertaker drives AJ Styles out to the Atlantic Ocean because Orlando's inland. And throws him in the ocean.
That wouldn't be bad. Have him put him in a helicopter and push him out of it.
Fuck yeah.
You see my GIF?
No. When I GIF, you GIF, we GIF. Put
Sure.
your hand up on my GIF. And you Twitter like my GIF.
Forget it.
What GIF?
GIF.
The one no one liked on Twitter.
Oh, so
The graveyard one. My first thought. So, I was a former aircraft mechanic in the military, and that is the GIF I posted was of someone like driving in a motorcycle and like one of those crazy BMX bikes.
Oh, yeah.
In an aircraft boneyard, because when we say, "Oh, this aircraft's going to the boneyard," it is like where we would say aircraft go to die, because that is
Up on the east side.
yeah.
That's our boneyard.
The ones on base, those are like the aircraft that I worked on.
Yeah.
ooh,
They're decommissioned now, but that's when they said boneyard, I was like, "Oh shit, are they actually going to like?"
We got 2 days.
Boneyard?
It'd be cool if they did it in the boneyard.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know
Air
what Florida
Force-
has,
Yeah.
but
In the military boneyard?
Florida has none. They can't. The reason it's out here is because humidity is a big part of why the boneyard exists here.
Yes.
Yeah, but like a big thing. So
It doesn't rust.
What if Undertaker's been here? What if they've been here? No,
It's true that-
AJ's over there, but
Maybe.
that would be fun.
AJ doesn't come to Arizona.
But we don't know how much they pre-taped. They could have pre-taped this SmackDown 2 weeks ago.
There's a lot of ability for them to do pre-tapes.
Yeah, they can do a ton. Spence says, let's throw the big show off a building again for old time's sake. I agree with that.
Let's cover them in shit again, too.
Yeah, and let's make people eat dog poop.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's fake
Oh,
poop.
you smell like mierda, cabrón.
Yeah. Let's see. Charlotte Flair did her shit that I didn't care about. They did show Asuka versus Charlotte. What do you think about them showing that match?
It upset me.
I actually was not happy about that one.
No.
I think they did a really good job of replaying matches that mattered, and that was a match where it just reminded me how much I hate Charlotte Flair. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe they're trying to really push Charlotte Flair as a heel, because that could work.
Yeah, but that match upset me. There's a lot of things you could do to show Charlotte as a heel. That sucked because that, to me, one of the greatest missed opportunities in modern WWE was we destroyed Asuka's winning streak for Charlotte.
Yeah, but that's a huge heel move, right?
Yeah, but
If
there's
you only
other
remember-
ways to do huge heel moves. That pisses me off. I mean, a heel move does piss you off. Being a heel means you're going to be upset, and I am marking out, and I'm being worked, but goddamn, that would have been such a more compelling story if Asuka won.
Yeah, and no, and then I feel like that I'm more inclined to turn off Rhea versus Charlotte than I am to watch.
Yeah, no.
I feel like Charlotte and Rhea, Street Profits tag title, and Aleister Lashley are 3 matches that I, as of right now, have literally no intention on watching.
That is the entirety of day 1. Cool. Watch day 2.
Oh, it could be good. If that's all on day 1 when I have to work anyways, I'll be like, sweet, don't have to watch. Sounds like the police.
I still have it off.
What? The first day?
No, the second day.
Sound
Remember?
of the police.
Second day I have off.
Yeah.
Let's see. Randy Orton's promo I thought was so good. I love that you could tell, for one, that they taped it beforehand because it didn't feel overly scripted, but they cut in little video snippets. And I was like, that's so good. Because it came off so natural, and then had almost a production crew just being like, here's a little peek back at that. Like, so good. Because how many times do we get them to talk about things where we have to Google what the fuck are they talking
Yeah,
about?
no, it was great. I liked... I'm most excited... Honestly, the match I'm most excited for this WrestleMania is Orton Edge.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a hard time disagreeing with that. Yeah. I'm
Like,
not
Fiend
excited
Cena,
at all,
yeah, but Orton Edge.
Fiend Cena I'm excited for, but I think I'm more excited for Orton Edge.
I'm scared for Fiend Cena, too.
Yeah.
I need Fiend to win.
They could go a couple different ways, and I think it could be amazing, depending on how they do it. I'm not at all excited to watch Goldberg versus Roman. I would just like to see the pictures of Roman winning at the end. I don't care to watch Brock and Drew fight at all.
Because they've ruined Drew, or Drew's ruined himself.
Drew's completely ruined. Am I wrong on that? Because I'm getting a lot of flack online because someone tweeted out like, "Oh, do you think that Drew deserves to win in front of a crowd, or should he win an empty arena?" Kind of a deal. On paper, but totally get how folks are not into it all. Yeah, Rhea and Charlotte on paper. Here's 2 amazing female wrestlers. They can put on an amazing match, but making me give a shit is not there.
I think, and this is my thing, and we talked about, so Charlotte's win for the Royal Rumble has been wasted. I think what would have been way more compelling is this. If Shayna had won the Royal Rumble to challenge Becky, and Charlotte lost. Charlotte was the last one. Charlotte was about to win, and it was like, fuck, Charlotte's going to win. And she lost. Then she's crushed and disheveled and just like, fuck this, and then goes, you know what? I'm done with this upstart. And she starts from 0 and starts attacking starts attacking Rhea. I would like that. That would have been better booking, and that shit would have been cool to me. Or have Rhea be like, I'm better than Charlotte, and have Charlotte come out. You could even make Charlotte a face in that case, and it would have been okay. But no, we have this, and it sucks, and it's a waste of a Royal Rumble win, and I don't give a fuck about it. And I like Rhea a lot. Rhea's one of my favorite wrestlers. Like,
And Charlotte could have even been a crazy cool heel. Because, I'm just going to wreck shit now.
yeah.
I agree about Drew. I don't like Happy Fun Guy Drew. I want Angry World Beater Drew.
Yeah.
And I agree. But someone posted, like, what do you think about the Drew, this and that? Where should he win? And he said, quite frankly, I don't care if Drew ever wins at this point. He comes off so entitled. And I was like, and I know how silly it was to have that giant spider. But at the end of the day, that was positioned as a beloved pet that he murdered unprovoked. I'm not cheering for him anymore. And I've gotten a lot of negative responses to that. People being like, what are you talking about? He's cutting the same promos everyone else is cutting since 2001. No. Not true. Someone else saying, like, he's been running through people's for almost 2 years now. Also not true. Secondly, not the only one to do so. So at the end of the day, too, I'm reading all these comments of people talking shit to me and thinking, you're not disagreeing with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're just bringing up something else that has nothing to do with it. It's just the red herring argument. Oh, but what if this? Okay, but I'm talking about this. Yeah, but this. I'm talking about this. But I like this. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole thing. I mean, that's how Twitter is. But.
Well, and it's like, who is the bigger heel, Brock or Drew? And at this point, honestly, Drew.
Drew murdered a pet.
They're trying to make Drew like Stone Cold. Which I've always said, like, I would like to see more Stone Cold faces.
Can you imagine for a second the countdown to Stunner? Can you imagine Stone Cold ever looking into the crowd and saying 3, 2, 1, and then kicking a stunner?
To be fair, he did do something similar.
What did he do?
Royal Rumbles. The watch.
He was waiting for someone to come out.
But it's similar. It's a countdown thing. It's like, I'm waiting for you to kick your ass. But it's too cocky. I think the reason they did that is I immediately paralleled that to Stone Cold. It's like they saw it as, well, Stone Cold would do these asshole things and be face. Yes, but he did it and backed it up, and it wasn't mean. It wasn't like...
And he did it in context. Going like this, like I'm waiting for an opponent, is not the same as I can beat him. Because he went like this, and then he put his head down. And then Bret Hart's music kicked, and he went, oh no, and put his hand on his head and was like, oh shit. And then he gets up and gets ready because he's got a fucking fight. Fucking Drew McIntyre being on the mic when he's in a match, and then being like 3, 2, 1, boom, match is over. To me, gives away the business.
Yeah, no, I really think what it was is they were like, okay, well, we need Drew. Drew's not going to be beefy, so let's make him like this hard ass, I'm going to kick ass heel or face. But he's a cocky, arrogant piece of shit. He's coming off like Triple H is very rarely a face because other than in DX, and DX worked because Triple H was such a dick and he had the ultimate heel to face. This comes up like if Triple H was an Evolution, but we were expected to cheer for him. Yeah. It's that level of cockiness.
Spence says WWE has a really bad habit of heels doing normal, rational things like defending their family's honor, and faces doing totally shitty things to heels in commentary, just forcing down everyone's throat who the good guy and bad guy is.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with it entirely. I think there's probably exceptions to the rule, but that feels pretty honest.
Well, I think
it feels like it comes from a real place.
I understand the goal of it is it's WWE's. If we're like gonna compare it to something, it's very similar to DC Comics.
Well, you also have fucking piece of shit Corey Graves on commentary all the time, who tries to bury every fucking face. He doesn't like try to put over the heel and make you cheer for the bad guy, or he doesn't try to make them call for. He literally speaks on behalf of the heels and tries to bury the faces. This person's ridiculous. This person's not even good. This person's shit. Like, and then the bad guys are like, well, what they're doing makes sense, and why wouldn't you do it that way? This person's looking to win, and you're silly if you don't see it. Like, there's no defense for the faces.
Well, like Old King would be like, he would talk up everyone.
He would, and he would talk up more the heels. Jim Ross would talk up the faces. This guy's got honor. This guy demands respect. This guy's got that. And Cole's just being like, I don't know what you're seeing, Grace. Let's keep going.
It's what it does. It diminishes the faces. Mm-hmm. Because we're only focused, like it's a fuck them, or actually no, it diminishes the heels because we're not talking about the heels. We're only talking about the fucking faces. Either they're good or they're bad. No.
Yeah. Let's see. Graves and Phillips were so good on commentary in NXT. Also, drink for so good back in NXT.
Yes.
What? I mean, yes.
Like it's a drinking game. Like, among wrestling fans, like, Sami Zayn was so good in NXT. This person was so good. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
No. I'm a slow reader. Yeah. Because X was so good back in NXT. Yeah, no, that's true.
I always like I miss I miss you talking shit about Graves because I always loved your like he's dick in hand versus tongue in cheek.
Yeah, he's not tongue in cheek, he's dick in hand. And to be honest, that's been the best part of commentary. He's gone. Like I've been noticing with Michael Cole by himself.
Yeah, he does fantastic.
He's amazing by himself without Corey Graves. I'm like, wow, commentary's so good lately. What's different? Literally only one person exists now.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Triple H and Michael Cole was fantastic. I think
Raw's
Triple
been...
H.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah. No, and Triple H, fuck it. Yeah, it's just, I'm not a. But yeah, back to Drew. I don't give a shit.
I actively want Drew to lose at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when last year we were like, well, what's gonna happen with Seth and Brock? We came in and we were excited. I was excited to see this because I thought it was gonna be a good match. It sucked. Yeah. I'm expecting this to be a shit match. I'm expecting Drew to Claymore kick him twice and win. And if it's not that,
If Drew McIntyre loses, I'm gonna be the happiest fucking guy.
I would love it. Yeah.
If he loses, I'm gonna fucking buy myself a world title.
I want him to pull a Kevin Nash and run across the ring and tear a quad.
Oh, that'd be so good. Cole was awesome during Cruiserweight Classic. I think Cole's great. I think he's completely underrated, and I think a lot of people talk shit about him because they think it's cool and funny, and because they'd rather hate something than try and see what's good about it. And I think that he's a really easy target. But I think he's actually great.
Whenever somebody's tenured, you want to see something different. You get bored of it, But Cole doesn't. I think sometimes isn't able to show his personality because he's always been the straight man, and that gets boring to people. But Cole is. If he wasn't good, he wouldn't have been there 30 fucking years. That's
the other thing is I think there's a big difference between forced down your throat and not picked by you. And I think the internet community doesn't understand that difference. Just because that wasn't your guy doesn't make them great. Or it doesn't make them not great, I should say.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just because they're not picked by you doesn't mean they're garbage. All right? There's other people. And just because you like someone else better doesn't mean this person's not good. You know what I mean? So, go fuck yourself, Brian Last. Brian Last just shits on WWE so much. I'm all like, what's your fucking problem, dude? Because they're not booking the way you would? Because it's crazy. And the way he shits on Michael Cole is like, okay, obviously you're fucking petty about something. Because no one I've heard has talked shit about Michael Cole. Even so many people I've seen even say how they didn't like Michael Cole, and then watching him alone on this makes him go, you know what? He's not half bad. He's carrying this show.
Yeah.
And Brian Last is like, I fucking hate him. I hate him so fucking bad. He's just so bad. He's so bad that he's just bad. He's just awful. Like, dude, you've got nothing to say other than you don't like him. So
give me a reason why.
Yeah, you're obviously coming from nowhere. Let's see. It kind of brings us to the end of Raw, unless there was something in there you wanted to throw out.
I think Raw was the weakest show of the week, honestly.
I liked it. It had 2 playbacks, and they spaced them.
Yeah, I mean, I get it because it's a 3-hour show, and it had things that I think were the best, but it was still the one that drugged me the most.
I agree. Everything after Street Profits was okay.
Yeah,
but I had to get through all the Street Profits shit, and then I had to sit through the Asuka Charlotte shit. But everything outside of that was good. Seth was good. Aleister Black's squash match was fine. Kevin Owens good, obviously.
Yeah.
Randy Orton good, but. Yeah, I thought it was the worst show of the week too, but I thought that after Street Profits it picked up.
Sorry, did you guys talk about Seth's promo and how he took credit for the women's division?
I liked that.
That was hilarious.
I thought that was smart because his whole thing was that there is no NXT, there is no Performance Center without what he did in FCW effectively. And, there's an argument to be made there. Like, him saying there's no women's evolution, everyone's like, okay, dude, relax. But it's also like, well, how did the women's evolution really start?
NXT.
It really started and kicked off in NXT. And how did NXT start? Well, because of FCW. So, the thing I liked about it was that there was a linear thinking there where you could say, I see his point. I might think that that's not true, but at the same time, let's say there was no NXT. Do we get the 4 Horsewomen of NXT after that? Do we get the 4 Horsewomen of FCW? Does that happen? Do we get the 4 Horsewomen of OVW? Cornette was already gone. Mm-hmm. So what do we do? How do we move forward and all that without a Seth Rollins? I don't know.
Yeah, what's the catalyst? Because, I mean, it is an easy thing. I mean, it's not too far for me to think, if there wasn't one big event, I could still see bra and panties matches.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
yeah, for sure.
The mud match.
Yeah, mud match put Charles Robinson in the hospital cleaning out his eyes. Did you listen to? So Sean Mooney's got a podcast. Primetime with Sean Mooney. He did a Q&A. He did an interview with Charles Robinson, and the Q&A. The first question is me. The second question is Wrestling on the Rocks, and he puts us over. In that Q&A, Charles Robinson says, Actually, I should say Sean Mooney says this next one comes from Wrestling on the Rocks, and Sean and Robinson responds with, "Those are great people right there. Those are some really great people. Honestly, great people." He puts us over. It's pretty cool.
Charles Robinson, don't make me cry.
Yeah, no, for sure. Charles Robinson is an absolute hero to us. So to make him think that we're good people, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So that was cool. ESPN replaying all the 30 WrestleMania, a bunch of WrestleManias. What do you think about that?
I like that. I think.
Do you think it leads into them buying WrestleMania? That's been the talk, yeah. Not this year, maybe, but what about next?
I would like to see WrestleMania, if not live, appear on broadcast television.
Spence says, "I love that Charles Robinson is 143 years old and doesn't look a day over 20.
Damn right.
I want to disagree. I want to, but I can't.
No. Charles Robinson does not age.
No, he's amazing.
He hit an age and he stayed there. He's like Dick Clark.
Yeah.
Also, a Navy veteran.
Navy vet.
Nice.
He's a sub guy.
Oh, so he's the
And
tiny?
we're a big fan of his, and he's a friend of the show.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's good. I like the idea of WrestleMania appearing in a more broad area for people to watch. I think it's a cool part of WWE working with Fox because now that means they're working with Disney. I like the idea of wrestling getting thrown more broadly and getting seen there, and I would love to see wrestling kind of appearing on more Disney properties in weird ways. I know it's silly, but Sasha Banks is going to be in The Mandalorian.
A big what?
Sasha Banks is going to be in The Mandalorian.
Fuck, you're out of here. You're out
no.
of your goddamn mind.
She's cast in The Mandalorian for a second season.
Look that
Yeah.
up. Find out if Clump's
Sasha
full of
Banks
shit.
has been cast in Mandalorian.
Don't clump on our desk and say it's raining.
Well, like the other one was like when they announced that they're going to be a Fox and Fox bought, or was bought by Disney. The New Day was like, we want to be in The Simpsons. I want to see.
That'd be so good.
I want to see these broad things. I read it multiple places.
Well, Forbes is saying there's a rumor. So Forbes is not confirming it. They just said there's a rumor.
Rumor only. You shit.
But
You heard it here first. If it's true, you heard it here first. If it's not true, Clump's full of shit.
it's Forbes though, which Forbes isn't the worst. It's not.
Forbes reported it as a rumor. That means if you
Forbes
heard
has
it,
a picture of your ass in it, so don't knock it too much.
What?
oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
Matt
both
Brown's
are-
in there,
Oh, that's
right?
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, we're in Forbes because of the Royal Rumble.
Do you want to explain that to people because they don't know what you're talking about?
Well, if you watch the Royal Rumble, we're second row.
2019, not 18 or
Yeah,
20.
the 2019 Royal Rumble, we're second row, and we kept holding up the hashtag I'm Matt Brown face. It's over there. I can't reach it, and the producer won't give it to me, so you don't get to see what it is. But if you go to at I'm a Matt Brown, IMMA Matt Brown on Instagram, you can check out those. But let's see. Spence says that Charles Robinson's like Arn Anderson, but kind of in reverse because Arn looked 50 when he was 20 and now looks 50. So basically, got to a certain age and stopped. Like Steve Martin. Yeah, when he was
Steve Martin always looked 50, and Steve Martin's now like 80, and he looks 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked way old for his age until the point where he passed his age and now looks young for his age.
Yeah.
Some people just click.
Yeah,
They get to a certain age and click.
They just stay there.
Yeah, that's just their look now.
Yeah.
So,
It's like George Clooney looked 40 always, and now it's like, you know what, you're fine.
yeah.
In ER, it's like, god damn, you're old.
Yeah, at first it was all like, oh, you look really good for being so old. And he goes, I'm actually very, very young. Like, well, you look awful. And then later it's like, oh, you look so good for being so old. And he goes, yes, that's true now.
Damn right.
It's true now, but it wasn't before.
I'm charming.
I like ESPN playing all the WrestleManias. People have been talking about it. They're watching it. I like the idea of people coming in and watching and being a part of this community. And I say, invite them here to talk and drink and yell at each other about it. One other thing I want to make sure, what you got?
I was going to say also, like, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, I would like to see if they're going to do this in ESPN, it would be a great platform to also showcase, because they have the 30 for 30s. Well, let's also play maybe those 30 for 30s related to wrestling, but also some of the documentaries related to wrestling. It's a great time to say, hey, take a look at the Ruthless Aggression documentary. Hey, take a look at the Attitude Era documentary.
And you don't need to play all episodes. You can play the Brock episode and the Cena episode because it's leading into the current WrestleMania.
It's a fan, and that would be, their WWE is fantastic in making documentaries, and that's cool. They're good documentaries, even if you don't watch. My wife is not a huge wrestling fan. I've gotten her into it, and I've been playing those Ruthless Aggression documentaries. I see her slowly start turning over and be like, "Whoa, really?" I'm like, "Yeah,
this shit's compelling."
Yes, WWE makes fantastic documentaries.
That's what's so cool about wrestling is it's compelling storytelling about characters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's emotion driven.
Mm-hmm.
No one lost their shit and cried about Daniel Bryan winning because it was a fucking fake show that nobody gives a shit about. People lost their shit and remember where they were because it's compelling and it's emotional. And these are people who they supersede several different career paths. Yeah. Right? You could just be an athlete, play football or something. People will cheer for you, yeah. Or you can be an actor and people watch your movies and celebrate you in award shows. Or you can be a wrestler and do all of that in one thing and have a bunch of people in one room crying together because you just won a match that everybody knew before you even got into it that you were going to win.
When I look
but you still made everybody cry.
Well, it's funny. So we talking about Dave Bautista being at Phoenix Fan Fusion if it's going to occur. All the photos they have of him are Drax or of pictures of him in James Bond or in Blade Runner 2049.
Dude, should I get a Give Me What I Want shirt from our wrestling shop, prowrestlingtees.com/wrestlingontherocks?
You're asking us to come be there with me.
But I'm saying, could I get that shirt and actually get him to sign it?
That'd be awesome. If
he could sign one of our shirts.
It's not gonna happen.
I know. But what I was getting at is, to me though, what I'm gonna look at, what I'm gonna go there for, and if it were to still be there, I would sign up for that meet and greet, that signature, and I'd say, I'm happy to have you sign my stuff because I loved your character from Evolution to being the WWE champion. You were the guy when I played SmackDown versus Raw that I always chose because you were the big scary motherfucker, and I always identified with that because at that age I was the biggest kid in my class, and I was, and you were quiet and stuff, and I kind of identified with that because I was not a loud kid. I was weird and awkward and huge because I've been this tall since I was 10. And then I stopped growing. So it was, but
just like Arn Anderson in his age.
Yeah. I'm gonna look. If I look like this when I'm 40, I'm gonna be great because I
got adult size when I was 10, and now that I'm an older adult, I'm short for my age.
Yeah, but
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say Full Circle Cinema just said that Sasha Banks reportedly appear in upcoming season as well.
Reportedly, rumorly.
So, I don't know.
If it's true, you heard it here first. If it's not true, Clump's a piece of shit. We don't even know why he's here. Lot to live up to, but, you can do it.
It's not wrong.
You'll live through it.
Yeah.
That would be amazing to see Batista. You know what's funny, though, is the years I wasn't watching because oftentimes I tuned in and saw Batista and went, not interested. And clicked off.
But it was, I liked.
But when I watched back stuff, I go, okay, he was interesting.
Well, he was like I always liked. So it was funny. I liked moves. Like there's certain moves I liked with wrestlers. I'm a big fan of power bombs. Like a good looking power bomb's amazing. And
that's the best move in the world, I think. If you have a good power bomb, that's the death move. Like
and his power bomb, I liked more than the jackknife.
Yeah.
Because it was a meat, and I was like, okay, I like that shit.
Yeah, and the sit-down powerbomb, the sit-out or whatever, like, it looked even crazier, because it was like, this motherfucker's throwing you on the ground, and he's kicking his fucking feet out.
Great, better spine buster than Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
Also, his entrance music, I always liked his entrance music. Like
Xavier Woods loves the entrance music.
And then just everything about, like, I liked Batista a lot, and he didn't need to talk a lot for me to like him. I was like, that motherfucker looks cool and scary.
That's true.
Yeah, I wanted to be Batista when I was 10.
So we should huh?
You want to be Foley.
Oh, it's gonna be Foley. It's gonna be Foley. Yeah, for sure. I was like, oh yeah, I can get the shit kicked out of me and live. I don't know what that means, but that was my thought.
It's funny as I messed up my knee, and I occasionally have to wear a knee brace, and I think because I wear short shorts, I can be Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Have trouble with my legs.
I can be a chip in Austin.
Yeah. I'm also upset if they cancel Phoenix Fan Fusion because I've been wearing cutoff shorts because I'm trying to get ready to be Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing I wanted to throw out there while we can is Dark Side of the Ring comes back tonight. Premieres. There's another series of Dark Side of the Ring, and this season's going to be opening up with a 2-hour premiere of the Chris Benoit story.
Part 1 is on YouTube.
Both parts are going to be on Vice tonight.
Yeah.
Part 1, the first 45 minutes or so was on YouTube, but if you just get Vice on TV, the app or whatever, I think you're making a... Like, I've watched all of Dark Side of the Ring on there, and I never paid a cent. So I think you can even sign up, make an account, be done, and get access to everything without commercials. I don't know about YouTube has commercials or not, but the Vice doesn't. And this one on Chris Benoit, I think is going to be looked at as very important, because I think that from what I saw, because I saw the beginning of it, they're interviewing a lot of really important people in this story, and they're able to tell their story like they've not been allowed to before. And I feel like a lot of people are opening up.
I think I agree. Is when I listened to it, I was like, this is cool. This is different, and I liked. It was incredibly compelling listening to Vicky Guerrero talk about him, and you heard a lot about his. You so much I think has been made of him as the event.
Yeah. And
to hear about the event, but also what led up to him, and talk to him about like the struggles he had before, the kind of weirdness of it, but also like Eddie before, like how he reacted. I never heard about the stuff between when Eddie passed away and that unfortunate weekend in 2007.
Yeah,
and that was really interesting and compelling, because they talked about him retreating in and him not talking and him becoming more distant.
His response to that was, I think, in a sense, news to me. I think I had heard before that he took it hard, but the response of people saying, this is what I saw of it, I think was insane.
Yeah.
Spence says, I watched the first half last week. It's absolutely heartbreaking. I was gutted when they showed Benoit breaking down after Eddie's passing on Raw.
That was hard.
Yeah, watching that replay where he's trying to talk about Eddie, and he just fucking can't. He flat out cannot talk about it. And I think that I agree with, yes, what he did was unforgivable. What he did is hard to wrap your head around. It's not understandable to figure out how he got to the mental space where he could accomplish those things. But I think that there was a compassionate man before then, and I think it was interesting to see everybody be able to talk it through and to see a little bit of that, of how did it break down and how did we get there, was different than I expected. You know what I mean?
So there's a podcast I love, and they cover kind of the occult and serial killers. They're called Last Podcast on the Left, and one of their guys is a big wrestling fan, and they did the episode on Chris Benoit, and it really upset me because it was a space where I think they were unable to bring out the positives. Now, generally, their rule is if somebody's done something wrong, they're going to make fun of them as the piece of shit they are. That's that kind of thing. But in this case, there's a very complex story there. Chris Benoit is not a hero, and Chris Benoit should never appear in the WWE Hall of Fame. However, he's a very complex figure, and I think it's hard, and you shouldn't erase him totally, because he was another person I connected with and admired. I loved the Eddie Guerrero Chris Benoit WrestleMania moment is one of my favorite moments in wrestling.
Yeah.
That was a moment I cried because I loved Eddie Guerrero. I loved Chris Benoit. It was just an amazing moment.
I'm watching them in WCW. You like took the ride with them, and then you get there and you're like, you fucking both did it, and you somehow figured out a way to do it in the same night, motherfuckers. Like, yeah.
No, sure. It's hard, I think, in multiple ways, because I think part of the unfortunate part of why he's erased is that in maintaining kayfabe and maintaining, you don't want to have this complex. It's hard to make a complex story.
People have a hard time with the complexity of human emotion when it comes to anybody who's not them. I'm complex, however, you must be simple.
Yes.
Is kind of the internet fucking life motto. Yes, I'm strange and complex, but if I can't identify through a meme, I must be wrong. And you are probably not complex, you're probably simple, because I'm the only person who's complex. Wherein the reality is every human being who experiences any range of emotion past angry and sad is probably incredibly complex. And once you pass the age, I think, of like 21, your whole fucking life story is probably way twisted as far as emotions go.
I agree with.
Yeah, Spence says he didn't know how close Eddie and Benoit were. The show is providing so much more context and nuance to the whole situation. It's difficult for people to process that he can be both one of the best wrestlers of all time and also a person that committed an absolutely abhorrent act. Yes. And I think that's the key to it. One of my favorite movies that's ever been made is called United States of Leland. I think it's a good movie standalone. Like, if you've never heard of United States of Leland, I'd say find it somewhere. I'm sure it's at least purchasable by like 3 minutes. Or $3, I should say. But, and I want to say it's on Amazon Prime. But I don't know for certain. But either way, there's a quote in there where someone says, "Oh my God, this person was the kid of this man." And that the man is a character in the film is a writer. The person's like, "Oh, you know who that writer is?" And he goes like, "Yeah, that person's a bastard. Or, that person's an asshole. Fuck him. I would never read one of his books." And the writer, who's a fan of that person's writing, responds with, "Yes, he's an asshole. He's an absolute bastard. But you don't judge an artist by his life. You judge an artist by his work." That always stuck with me in a really weird way, where it's like, there's two sides to humans, right? There's what we produce and who we are. And those are two very distinctly different things most of the time. A lot of times, especially with the most tormented and most controversial of us all, there's a side of them of production and creativity that's like, how can I not appreciate this on any level at all just because of this? And not the just because of, because the just because of is fucking horrendous and awful. And I would gladly turn in one for the other. Mm-hmm. I'd rather say, hey, I'd rather you make none of the good shit and just live a happier, healthier life with more people living. Like, that's an easy turnaround. Really easy to say, yes, I'll trade that for this one. No problem. However, without the option to trade that in for the other, and this is what we're left with, was a tragedy and a production, it's hard to say that there's a separation between the two, because I feel like there is.
Within greatness, there's always seems to be difficulty. I mean, within so many of the figures in our world that we admire, there's a complexity to them. We look at JFK. JFK is by many would consider maybe one of the greatest presidents ever, but JFK did a lot of things personally and in the presidency that were not fantastic, that were difficult, that were hard. We look at this event and it's hard to separate, or there are people, I'm not going to reference them, but that we admire that currently are, in many ways, they've done horrible things.
Yeah. And
they're out of the public eye and they shouldn't produce new content and they might be in prison justifiably so. But does that take away from the art that they created? And I don't think so. I don't think it can. Does it take away from the happy memories of watching that art with family members? It shouldn't. And that's the case with Benoit. I think another person in wrestling that I compare him to that, unfortunately, I think hasn't had that rough of treatment because he died and he didn't die in a terrible act is Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah.
There is a lot of an argument to be made that Jimmy Snuka did something incredibly terrible in the 80s, that he may have killed someone. He didn't get acquitted in that trial. It was thrown out because of his deteriorating mental condition. Does that take away from the memories of Jimmy Snuka at Madison Square Garden? No. Does it take away from Jimmy Snuka in the coconut segment with Roddy Piper? No, that doesn't. But
I mean, it doesn't have to, but it can for some. Yes. I mean, arguably and understandably, it can for some.
Yeah.
For someone to say this and make, fuck this guy, I'm not even watching this shit. Like, I get that. I understand where you're coming from. But does that mean nobody else can appreciate the painting or the song?
Yeah, exactly.
Or the movie or the book. You know what I mean? Like, tormented people write beautiful works and create beautiful things because they don't know another way to express it. And sometimes our minor mental discomfort is best expressed by those who are experiencing an extreme mental anguish. You know what I mean? And how do you feel more alone than by none of that stuff being out there? Mm-hmm. And do we tell people, if you're feeling that stuff, please keep it the fuck to yourself? Or do we utilize that to help other people get through it and not react the same way? Like, it's all kind of wild. Spence says, I learned a very similar lesson long ago in the punk rock days of my youth. For fucking sure, already. Let's see that the artist can be an asshole, but the art can still be great. The best art tends to be made by flawed people, or they could get through such a dark phase. And then United States of Leland available on Prime and YouTube for $2.99. I think it's $3 well spent either way. And if you do watch it and want to talk about it, at Ref Marsh, I'm on Twitter. I'm pretty active there, at Marsh Ref on Instagram, and I respond to messages there. It's harder for me to find them, though, than it is for... I don't notice them as quickly as I do on Twitter, I should say. So, but... There's the website, wrestlingontherocks.com. You can contact us there at any time as well, and it does go directly to my email there. So all that stuff is available, and I'm not asking you for money to talk to me, but I am saying that stuff is there available. And if you check it out, I do want to know what you think, just because I think that movie it's still one of my favorites for a long time. But I think that it's hard to erase someone's entire life and career because of something that they did horribly at the end. And that doesn't mean you excuse it by acknowledging it, I think. And I don't know. I don't know. I've been told I've been flat out wrong before when I've talked about that before. That, hey, yeah, someone can be an absolute bastard, but it doesn't remove the context of their work.
I think the thing...
I have a hard time with that.
I always... To me, it's more that... It doesn't... You can't remove the impact that somebody has in someone's lives through their work, but... You can separate the person. I think because it's that it's the art versus the creator.
Yeah, and I guess in a very real sense, on the same topic, is that movie United States of Leland actually has Kevin Spacey in it, and he's a very similar context right now where people talk about what he did in his personal life, and does that justifiably erase his entire career or not? That movie still moves me. I don't care who's in it.
No,
you know what I mean.
You can't pull. And the thing is, I think. You have to look at him as a person in it, or look at the character.
You have to look at the character separate from the person. They're not the same, right? That's why they're a character. They're playing.
What got me into comedy was 200 Miles an Hour by Bill Cosby. It's an incredibly difficult thing to separate and to not listen to that. So I still will think of it because it's the thing that my dad and I connected with. My dad's like, oh yeah, let's do this. And we would listen to it because I love cars. And my dad knew that. We would watch... and listen to that, and then listen to his other stuff, or watch Bill Cosby and stuff. I remember there was a channel that had it on every couple weeks, and we'd watch it. Bill Cosby did terrible fucking things as a person. That art, that comedy, to me, that is something I can't pull away. I can laugh at the jokes, I can laugh at the things, and separate him. The person who told that isn't a great person, but the art's fantastic.
The context.
Yes, the context behind the person. Kevin Spacey, as a person's pretty bad person, but Kaiser Sose in The Usual Suspects, fantastic character.
And I mean, I know it's a different conversation, but I also wonder sometimes if those people who are the most destroyed internally are the most keen to be able to identify how other people function because they don't want to be what they are.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe they're able to portray these other types of humans because they wish they could be those other types of humans. You know what I mean?
The biggest monsters have to have the best masks.
Yeah.
If somebody can't hide the terrible shit they do, then they don't do it for a long period of time. It's only when somebody can hide it that they're able to go on and do things for a long time. That's why when we talk about the worst people in the world, a serial killer or somebody who's something horrible, one thing they always say is, oh, he's very normal. Yeah, if he was an absolute monster, he would have been caught, or she would have been caught. It's if you can hide it, you can get through it all.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's very well the argument to be made, and potentially in this special talks about it too, that maybe he wasn't a monster, but at a moment became one.
Yes. He was arguably sick. I think that's the other thing. Unfortunately, well, he was sick, but there's other things that I think make it difficult for them to talk to that may relate to his health.
Yeah.
A move he did, and that move is a move that the flying headbutt is a move that a lot of people have talked about, and it's
so crazy because it looks so safe from the outside looking in.
But if you do it wrong and you land on your head, it's the bumps that don't look bad when they go wrong that are the worst. It's the tope. They're like, oh, that didn't look that bad, but you know what? Oh, fuck, he might have broken his neck. Yeah. It's very uncommon for it to be the worst horrible thing that happens. I think with that, another reason he's not talked about is there's a direct part of or a conversation that can be had related to what he did that pertains to the nature of the business itself. And that's why he separated so much, is that we don't want to talk about people being hurt. However, I think maybe, I'm not saying this is a way to canonize him, but a way to talk about him is what has happened since him. His legacy, in many ways can be created in that he did an absolutely horrible thing, but because of that, we created, and because of Eddie, we created a much better wellness policy. We focused on concussions, and I thoroughly believe, and when people talk about concussions and bring up Benoit, I say, you know what? The WWE has a better concussion policy than a lot of major sports leagues do right now.
All of them, yeah.
Yes. And that is because of Chris Benoit.
Yeah. I was actually surprised in the first half when they showed it too, for those who haven't seen it, when they talk about when Vicky talks about getting the call from Vince when Eddie passed. To hear that Vince was just bawling.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow. Because I know that, like, watching the Andre special, you can see visibly that Andre is just upset. Or not Andre. Vince is just upset about the passing of Andre. Still to this day, which is crazy. Because you're like, man, it's been so long. And I think about it too. And go, oh, yeah, I remember when we lost him, isn't it? But it hurts him still. And bringing it back to Conrad and Bruce, they did an Ask Bruce not that long ago, and someone talked about whether or not some of the other, after watching the HBO special, they'd watched that with Andre and stuff. What are some of the other losses that have really affected McMahon emotionally? And Bruce's response was all of them.
Yeah.
Like, just all of every one of them. He goes, they're part of your family. Every one of them. He goes, he's always reacted like he lost a member of the family. Like, it's never been like, oh, sorry, that one's gone. But it was always like, all of them was just all like, shit, that was my kid, you know? Like,
I think
to think that Vince is that connected to his talent, regardless of what everyone else wants to say about him being not connected or out of touch or whatever, like, there's a lot there. Because I think there's people who've passed that I've had passings with from high school or old work jobs or whatever that do not affect me as badly as Vince was affected by some of these people who lost on the lower part of his card. You know what I mean? Like, he cares, I think.
Yeah. No, I think it's easy to make Vince a villain, and in many ways he, as a true adherent to kayfabe, does so much to maintain that because he doesn't want to be Vince the person. Vince is a complex person, and Vince does care, and it's hard to understand. But the reason we say that is Vince does so much. If Vince didn't give a shit about his people, what people say, Vince wouldn't try and put people through rehab when they hadn't worked with him for years. Vince is also the kind of person that I feel like, and I compare this to other people, there's a lot of things WWE does very publicly.
Yeah.
Vince does a lot of stuff very privately, deliberately, and I think that
I mean, you found out about the stuff he did for Harley. I mean, none of that was public.
You find out
that people from the family were like, I want people to know this, because they're like, people have to know that he's not the asshole Mr. McMahon everyone wants to paint him out to be. Like, he cares about all these fucking people. He cares about them as though they're humans, because they are.
Well, the stories of when Gorilla passed away, Vince took care of his family. When Vince, I've always felt that the mark of a truly good person is that their actions are done for the benefit, not to themselves, but to others. That a truly good moment is something that isn't noticed.
Yeah.
And that's what, in many ways, Vince does, and I think is what makes him complex. And I think, you know, when we saw that, it was a really fascinating, kind of beautiful moment to see him react.
Yeah.
And have that single tear, because you could see like, oh, like that impacted me, because that's how important is Andre to him. Yeah.
And then from our perspective, we've always seen him as that, I mean, put it poorly, this godlike figure on our TV screen. He's the creator and the evildoer and all that stuff. And then to watch him just become such a tiny little human.
Yeah.
And get broke down. It was hard to sit through and not think like, oh my God, I thought nothing could affect him.
Well, the other thing too is like, there's the story of, you know, the two tapes in WWE's library that are listed as Never Erase, Never Watch.
So there's that in the legend of it. I would agree with. Supposedly Bruce says he doesn't know that there's anything actually labeled that way, but I don't know.
if it were, I think it does speak to, in my eyes, it's always been the thing of like, what is Mr. or what is Vince McMahon is. These are here. The reason that they're listed as do not erase is that he cannot forget the legacy of those people and the role that he played in, or that WWE played in their lives and what occurred. Why they're never to be watched is that it's something that is incredibly painful to see, and that's it's important but painful, and it's by its own presence a part of that world.
Yeah, it's almost like a never forget and never remember.
Yes,
You know what I mean? I never want to think about this again,
but I cannot.
but I can't
bear
let
to
it
forget
not be a part of me. It has to be a part of me, but it cannot be erased.
I cannot diminish what they did, but I also do not want this to be their legacy.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to what I think of what Vince is and how important of a person is and how good of a person he is. You know.
Yeah, and I would say that the more and more things, I don't know, who else was it? I was listening to another podcast with somebody where they were asked, because there's always these Q&As, and it was just like, what's something about, oh, you know what I think it was? I think it was Primetime with Sean Mooney interviewing Jerry Jarrett. I said, what is something about Vince McMahon that you think people will be surprised to know? Or like the best quality, or I think that's what it was. What was the best quality about Vince McMahon that people will be surprised about? And his response was immediately, it was like, oh, that's easy. His heart. He's got such a big heart. He cares so much about so many people, and people don't think that that's true or that that's there. He goes, but he does. He does a lot. He goes above and beyond. But this wasn't intentionally to just put over Vince McMahon as what we think to be the greatest man of all time. But Dark Side of the Moon does premiere tonight.
Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring.
You said Dark Side of the Moon. I was like,
both same thing. There's no difference.
No,
It's the same thing.
Definitely not the same thing.
Same thing. Identical. Identical. But Dark Side of the Ring debuts tonight with a two-parter, airing in one large hangy girthy part about Chris Benoit. This season's gonna close out with Owen Hart. I know that, and that's the first interview they ever really did with Owen Hart's wife, which I'm really fascinated to know about, because she refuses to interview for a lot of other people. So I'm hoping she really gets to say her piece the way that she wants to. Let's see, eat enough mushrooms, and he's right. And it's true. If you eat enough mushrooms, Dark Side of the Moon comes up. But check it out if you guys are interested. Check out United States of Leland. Let me know what you think. I think we're gonna watch Benoit tonight.
no.
So we'll see how that goes. But the whole series is really good, especially the more you're into just everything there is to know about wrestling. Dark Side of the Ring is a pretty cool series to check out. Even if you're only sort of into it. Like, I was looking through it. I think the episodes that the producer would even give a shit about if she were to watch would be Montreal Screwjob, maybe Bruiser Brody.
If you want to listen to an incredibly frustrating thing about the Montreal Screwjob, listen to the Radio Lab about it.
The Radio what?
Radio Lab, it's an NPR show.
Yeah.
They interviewed they interviewed Vince Russo.
Oh, he thinks he knows everything about it.
Yeah, it was, and I listened to it, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I like listened to other things. I was like, huh, and then I listened to this, like, man, fuck Vince Russo.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
Fuck this shit.
Yeah, part 2 should be up right now. I thought, I mean, I guess we'll find out, but I thought that part 1 and part 2 were airing together in one master part, but I guess the other, their app would split it up.
Ooh.
But I think that brings us to the end of wrestling for the week. There's been a lot going on in the world and in wrestling, and like I said, Matt Cross had it right when he said wrestling is forever, and that's why we're here. So check us out. I'm at Ref Marsh. He's at Crybaby Clump.
Yo.
Producer is at WOTR The Show. Hit us up anytime, and we can talk about wrestling. Go ahead and give us a follow. Anything else you wanted to make sure you touch ground on before we went?
I think we're good.
I think we're good. Tomorrow night, they did announce that there will be no blood and guts on AEW, but they will in turn have Cody versus somebody.
Yeah.
Remember what it was?
Cody.
I think it was someone from the Inner Circle.
That was Cody commentary.
Cody on commentary all night? Alright, never mind. You're right.
Drinking game.
There is a drinking game for Cody on commentary, so that's enough to make me
There's
watch.
Wardlow versus someone too.
Wardlow versus somebody. So tomorrow night on AEW, let's check it out. Cheers. Last call. Thanks you guys for tuning in. Spence, nice to have you through We'll catch you next time, and we'll catch you on the social medias. Talk to you later, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.